Following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
By tomorrow, I will rule the world!
You think he's gone? He's not gone. That's the whole point. He's never gone.
Is this some radical new therapy?
You see?
I'm trying.
Oh, Tom.
I'm trying.
Happy Thursday,
My
everyone.
phone is blowing up like crazy today.
Oh, boy.
Boy, did this turn out to be a really good day. Like, I was really emotional about today, and boy, did this come...
Even the weather outside is perfect, right?
Oh, this is great weather. Are you kidding? 70 degrees? I mean, it's not quite 29 degrees and crisp, because that's my sweet spot. Can you pull me up a little?
Yeah, of course.
Got my hair cut.
Yes, looking good.
Is that better?
Much better. Is that good, or you want it higher?
A little higher. All the women in my life say that when I'm really bald, it's sexier.
Yeah, you look better like that.
And I don't understand. I'm watching all these podcasts about how hard it is to date today. I can't relate to any of it.
Why?
I have no problems dating it. Like I have no dating problems.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't understand it at all.
What depends
it's
on
so
the age
hard.
group.
It's so hard to date women
It's
and
the
men.
age group. That's why.
Is it really? I mean, 'cause I date all age. As you know, I date all age
That's
ranges.
right. Yeah.
So it's like
Tom has no flag.
I do not understand everybody's like, it's so hard to find a good woman. No, it's really not.
No, it's
Oh,
not.
it's so hard
They're
to find
everywhere.
a good man.
Men are just picky nowadays. Too freaking picky. Just a little.
I think if you're trying to get relationship advice from a podcast or one of these influencers who are telling you, girl, you need to make him do this. If you're even considering taking their advice, you've already lost. You've already failed. I think you need to go up a little bit.
Yes. Your voice.
I think we got Bubba Buzz too coming. Could be wrong about that though. There it is.
Welcome in, everyone. Please like.
My phone is just blowing up like
Please share.
crazy.
We have a really good show.
I posted it 3 seconds before we went on the air, so now everybody's worked up. Let me find our itinerary for the day. It's 137 text messages back, even though it was an hour
No.
ago. Yeah.
God.
8:34.
I hope some of those are paying, like, commercials, though.
No, I'm talking
right?
about our text messages.
Oh, me and you. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
I text you what our topics are going to be, so I don't forget.
Yes.
I go back. Now, did this share? We got to get the show in the road. We got a very busy show today, believe it or not.
I really like the entry when we talk crap.
No, we're going to do that. We're doing that now. Let me just get... Poor baby cakes.
It's your fault. It's your fault.
It is.
Tom.
I'm not going to deny that even for a minute. It absolutely is my fault.
Your fault. She lost all her funding, Tom.
She lost everything. Oh, it was shared. She lost everything, and she deserved to lose everything. She's going to lose more, too. She is. She thinks you think I'm done just because she's lost everything? I'm not done.
I know. I believe you.
Like the guy at the beginning of this, he's not gone. He's never gone.
Oh, no.
I'm not done. Oh, I forgot. The prologue. I should have had my sponsors ready. I'm totally off my game today. We'll make it work, though. You know, it's a great day.
I'm sharing it everywhere.
It's a great day.
It is a great day.
And we're going to talk about a few topics, but I really want to talk about the anniversary and what it means and what it should mean to other people. Because I don't want to make it like this is about me. I want to make it like a learning moment for people that are going through stuff. And I know some people, like my friend Chuck, who's on his 30th surgery right now, and he's having a hard time. So, see what we can't do. Hi, how you guys doing? My name is Tom Duggan here with the Paying Attention Podcast, high atop the Golden Seal Apothecary on Main Street in North Andover at the North Andover Cam Studios. And if you're interested in doing a podcast, we've set up a pretty good thing here. They had never done podcasts before, and I came in and I talked to Brian Fraser, no relation to the bad Frasers, and I said...
Wait, it's the same exact last name?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So I said to him, listen, the guy over at Studio 21 Podcast Cafe is... not going to be doing podcasts there anymore except for his own because he has to pay a lot of money in insurance to have outside people come in. And when I started there were 16 podcasts, and after COVID, I was the only one left. I was the only one paying for the time. So we made a great deal here at NCAM. We're very happy with them. We also get a chance to see some of the great things they do in the community by coming in every week. And I appreciate Nick Maxwell and everybody here, Bill and everybody else.
Shout out to Nick and Bill.
Nick and Bill and everybody here. I'm gonna get crap for forgetting somebody's name by name, but
Brian, Dom left, and Anthony.
Anthony is right.
Jasmine is not here anymore.
Yeah, it's too bad. We only had her for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but
I was pretty sure I was going to offend her before it was all over anyway. She
Can I
kind of
be
seemed like that
honest?
type, yeah.
I don't miss her.
Oh, that's not nice. I miss her. I mean, I can't say I really miss. She wasn't here that much.
I never had a conversation with her. I'm not saying it in a way like, oh, I'm glad she's gone.
No.
It's like I didn't even know her like that, so I'm not gonna be like, oh my god, I miss her, Jasmine.
Right. No, we did. She just wasn't here long enough to miss her. Like she was here for 2 weeks, right?
Like Nick, I would miss him.
Who?
Like if Nick works
we would miss
oh my
Nick.
god. Like,
Nick is good stuff. And Bill. Let's take our sponsors: Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, the Zany Pesh Law Office, Marsan and Son Construction, EIS Investigation and Gun Training. We're going to talk a little about Joe today. Tomo and Shaken Seafood. Thank you, by the way, to Aaron at Shaken Seafood and Tomo after they saw what Debo Brown, convicted felon, Debo Brown, yo. What's poppy? What's poppy? What's cracky? What's good? After he attacked all my advertisers online and tagged them all in a disgraceful post that was completely wrong and inaccurate, a ton of my advertisers that were either up for renewal next month or at the end of the year called and said they were in, and Aaron called and said, I'm in for 3 more years. Usually they say a year. I'm in for 3 more years. He was so mad that we were under attack. And then, I don't know if most people know this, but Aaron over at Tomo is from China.
Yes.
And
he owns
Tomo and he owns Shaken Seafood. And I'm going to say again that he's from China.
Yes.
And all that means. It doesn't just mean he's a guy that came from China. It means he's from China. Yeah. And so he said to me on the phone when he called, he goes, he asked me what was going on with this guy, and I gave him the short version. And, these are the people that had me arrested, filing false police reports. He said, "Oh, those people?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You want me to fix problem?" And I went, "You know what?
What does that mean?"
I said, "You know what? Even the likes of Debo Brown doesn't deserve that." I was like, "You know what? No, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it." I felt bad for Debo. In the minute that I was thinking about what he would do to Debo, I was like, "Yeah, no, don't do that.
Don't do it.
Don't do that."
Oh, they know how to make people disappear for sure.
Kevin Druin jokes about the Guatemalan guy that was working at Tomo, actually Shaken Seafood, that did some horrible things, and nobody has ever seen him ever again. Yeah, he's just completely gone. Yeah. JG's Ice Cream, Clear Path for Veterans, New England. Thank you to Clear Path, Jason Gilbert and Yanitza Mendez and everybody over at Clear Path for having a free dinner for veterans last night and for donating the leftover food to TMF for the homeless. Prime Insurance, the Doug Mercurio Law Office, W3ON Website Design, Quality Catering, Terramar Mexican Grill. I think I might be going there tonight for our little anniversary celebration of life. And a free shout out to my friend Paul Lambert, who I actually had a phone call from somebody this morning who had a landlord issue. And she asked me if I knew a good lawyer. And I said, I know the best lawyer when it comes to landlord stuff. It's Paul Lambert. All right, so let's get going on the show. Now, we had a couple of things we wanted to talk about before. I'm going to slow down so I'm not talking too fast. I notice if I slow down the podcast when I'm watching the rebroadcast, if I slow it down to like 2/3 the regular speed, it actually sounds better. Because
people are paying attention.
I talk so fast that I think sometimes things go over people's heads. Sometimes I go, wait, what did I just say?
It goes over my head. Like there are things you say, and I'm like, I think about it afterwards. I'm like, oh wow, like it's because you say it fast, but you got to do it slower.
So
people want to pay attention.
I'm trying. So what do we have? We have your interview with Manny. We have Lee Fickenworth. We have the Dunkin' Donut guy. We have Julissa. We have the voter fraud in Lawrence, and we have today's big breaking story that Baby Cakes Kells with a Z. Frazier has announced the closing a year and a half a little too late, I think. But we knew it was coming because there was just no way it couldn't happen after everything that was going on. The closing of IVCS, the International Veterans Care Services that only really serviced veterans in Lawrence.
And whose fault was that?
That was my fault. Yes, that was me.
That was you?
She blames me. I'm going to take full responsibility for it. I mean, after all, I'm the one that tried to expose and did expose
Isn't it consequences for like her own actions? Wouldn't that be?
You have
the
to
case?
understand that hood boogers never take responsibility for what they do. They blame the people that catch them. These are the people that when you watch cops, these are the ones that are blaming the cops for arresting them while they're robbing a bank. They're not blaming themselves because they robbed the bank that they're going to go to jail for 10 years. They blame the cops for arresting them or the teller that called the cops. Like, how could you do this to me? Like, it's total gaslighting, right? So bad people never take accountability for themselves. Can you pull me just a little? I don't know why this. Yeah, it sounds like there's like
Really?
It sounds like there's like a little filter. That's good, right there. That's
All
perfect.
Can you share the live on your Facebook too?
I did. I thought.
Oh, okay.
Well, just check it just to me. I thought it. Yeah, it's right here. It's Tom Duggan.
Got it.
Right, so we're live. So we got all those things. So I'm going to let you pick which one do you want to go through. I'm going to go through the list again. Your interview with Manny, the Dunkin' Donut guy, Julissa, voter fraud, my life anniversary, which we're gonna do last, or baby cakes.
Why don't we start with something a little positive? Why don't we talk about the Dunkin' Donuts?
Now, that's funny because that was one of those things that I wasn't sure we were going to have time for today. So I live for moments like this. I'm so glad that I lived to have another one last night. So this is just what I call like Tom Duggan 101, right? So I'm pulling into. I had 5 things to get to last night, and for the last 2 weeks I haven't left the house because I haven't felt good. So yesterday I felt good. I had some stuff to do. I went out. I went to Tomo, talked to Aaron a little bit, and got some things done. And on my way back into Methuen, I had to come to the American Legion for the Clear Path dinner last night, and I stopped in at Dunkin' Donuts. So I pulled in. I was very late, and I was happy to see no cars in front of me. I pull in. The woman asked me what I want. I gave her. I told her what I wanted. We don't have that. Well, how about this? We don't have that. So now I'm flustered. I'm like, okay, just give me. And I just pick something and I pull up to the window and I'm about to give her crap for it because it's just kind of who I am, right? Like sometimes I do it in a half joking way so they can't tell if I'm really mad or not.
Passive aggressive.
Very good, passive aggressive. So I'm about to do that and I look up and she's gorgeous. And you know me, right? So now I'm melted. I looked at her, oh my God, you're adorable. I've learned you don't say sexy, you don't say hot, you don't say beautiful. Adorable works.
It does work.
So I went, oh my God, you're adorable. And we started chatting. She said, you really think so? Like, I work at Dunkin' Donuts. Like, like you think that guys like really think that? And I'm like, yeah, newsflash, guys don't care about your social status.
I used to be ashamed because I don't have a car anymore. And they don't
Men don't care. Men don't care. Women care about your status. They care about how much money you have, the title of your job. But men and women are different. Men don't give a shit if you work at Dunkin' Donuts, Home Depot, or
as long as you look good.
Or you're unemployed. We don't care.
As long as you look good.
If you're a nice person, right? Looking good is the bonus. But if you're a nice person and you're good looking, guys don't give a shit about the other stuff. So I started flirting with her a little bit, and I got her so flustered, she got my order wrong. So now she goes to give me my order, and it's wrong. And she realizes as she's handing me, oh my God, I made the wrong thing. And as she's saying that, I see that there's been a guy behind me for like 5 minutes. And he thinks we're just sitting there talking because she's waiting for the order to cook. So I said, I handed her my card. I said, do me a favor. Pay for the guy behind me. I feel bad. He's been sitting there for 5 minutes. So she makes my order. She gives it to me. She gives me back my card. And as I'm pulling away, as I'm just pulling out, the guy behind me rolls down his window, leans his head out, calls me an effing a-hole, tells me to get moving, and says, will you think of anybody but yourself? So I pulled out and pulled right to traffic and looked in my rearview mirror and waited to see the expression on his face in my rearview mirror as the woman at the window told him the reason it took him so long is because he was paying for your order. Fucking priceless. Priceless.
Instant karma,
priceless.
baby.
So then I pulled out, so he didn't have a chance to come up and thank me for it. I just pulled out. I didn't want to thank you. I didn't want to humiliate him. I just made the point, and I guarantee you, he was still punching his pillow and kicking his dog when he got home.
It's definitely a learning lesson for that guy, I think.
Yeah,
hopefully. Unless he's a hood booger and he thinks that it's your fault. And
some people you're never gonna teach a lesson to.
Or maybe he thinks, I got him. Like, maybe I got him like that. I don't know. You never know what people think.
All I know is I did a good thing and then I got shit on for it, as always. But I got a little satisfaction, leaving thinking,
of course,
maybe he felt a little humbled by that. Maybe next time he won't be quite the asshole that he was. So.
All right, the next topic, I really want you to talk about welfare queen, Lee Fickenworth.
God help us all. Did I give you that picture? You want to pull that picture up? Do you have it?
Of course I have it.
So I've known Lee since high school. I remember that's Lee there on the left shoveling food down her throat. And I would make fun of her weight, but I'm probably bigger than she is at this point. So, but I've known Lee since high school. She's a grifter. She's always been a grifter. She's always been a fraud.
She's the one to your left, everyone.
Yes.
With the black sweater on.
So this is at the Veteran Services dinner. Well, lunch, I think it is. This is a lunch for veterans. And Lee Fickenworth, not a veteran.
What's a veteran again? Can you give
veteran
us some
is
context?
somebody who serves our country in the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, maybe even the National Guard. Some of those guys get deployed.
They risk their lives.
Risk their lives, put their lives on the line, carry a gun, shoot at people, have people shoot at them.
Okay. Leave from home for months, years.
Jump out of planes with parachutes. Sometimes they don't open. These guys that went off to Vietnam and like Rich Russell that lived in rice paddies for weeks at a time, months at a time, climbed into tunnels. Had Agent Orange sprayed on them, came back and got shit on by their country, got called baby killers, go to the VA for medical attention to get crapped on, like we heard last week with Randy's buddy that's in Parkland Medical in New Hampshire. And
they come back, they go through issues, they lose their wives sometimes.
And and a lot of people in most communities in America now recognize the sacrifice and service of veterans. And so they do things like they have, like last night, Clear Path did a free dinner for the veterans.
That was beautiful.
The two people from Clear Path were chefs, and they cooked all the food, and they drove it to Methuen, and they served the food. They drove all the way back to Devon, which is easily a 45-minute ride. It's not like around the corner. Lee Fickenworth shows up at all of these events, all these veteran events. We actually have a picture of her at Baby Cakes Kell's food pantry for veterans, supposedly for veterans. Okay. And Baby Cakes was dumb enough. Kelly Frazier is who we're talking about. Kelly Burchell Frazier is who we're talking about. Was dumb enough to take pictures of people loading up groceries in her food pantry, where people donated either money to buy food or donated food items themselves. And in one of the
lobsters.
And in one of the photos is Lee Fickenworth loading up bags of groceries, who's not a veteran. And the excuse that we get is why she goes to all these veteran things for free stuff is, well, my great-grandfather was, or maybe it's her grandfather, but I think she said her great-grandfather. My great-grandfather was a veteran. Well, you know what? My grandfather served in World War II in the Philippines, all right, on Corregidor. My grandfather was on the medical transport ship that liberated the guys that were held as POWs on Corregidor. The horrors that guy saw is unbelievable. My father was a Vietnam-era veteran. He was never in Vietnam, but he was on a Navy ship during Vietnam. He never actually went into combat, but he was on a Navy ship during the Vietnam years. I would never in a million years go to a veteran dinner for a free breakfast, dinner, supper, donut, coffee, because my father was a Vietnam-era veteran, or my grandfather was a Corregidor. Like, never in a million years would I do that. And, most people that I know who are related to veterans, in a million years would never take advantage of that. But there's Lee Fickenworth right there. There she is. Wow, what a Playboy bunny she is, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. And she's shoveling food down her throat. And I guarantee that's probably her third or fourth helping. And she shows up at all these veterans events. And so the reason we posted this yesterday is because this is from, I think, a day or two ago. You can pull that down.
This is in Lawrence, right?
Yeah, I think this is the Lawrence Senior Center.
Yeah, the Senior Center.
And for the last 2 years, I've had veterans call my office or grab me when I'm out somewhere and say, when they're talking and chatting, and say, we do this thing for veterans. And this woman, Lee, comes to all of our events. She eats our food. She doesn't pay when she comes to they hold fundraisers like at the VFW, and they're raising money for like some veteran that needs his mortgage to be paid or something. And she shows up and she eats and she doesn't pay and she hangs around and sometimes even takes food home. Do you think you could do something about this? And I'm like, listen, I've known Lee since high school. Short of having her arrested, there's nothing you could do to stop her from a free meal, even if it's supposed to be for a veteran. It doesn't matter what it is. If it was for flood victims in New Orleans, she would show up and eat and pretend she was a flood victim from New Orleans.
Is she the one that's supporting Manny Gonalez too for mayor?
I'm not sure who she's supporting. She probably is.
She was at the event.
Oh, was she at the event?
Yeah, she was the event where they were like swearing at you. Remember?
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah,
yep,
she supports. This is the type of people.
She was with Baby Cakes.
She was with Baby Cakes.
That's right. We got her on the dash cam.
Yeah.
You know who thinks that's hilarious? Who? Is Daryl Frazier. Daryl Silva.
Really?
The Boston dad. Every time I see him, he goes. He watched the podcast that we did where I tapped the dash cam.
Yeah.
They didn't realize they were on camera, and then I tapped the dash cam, and all of a sudden they went from screaming and swearing at me to shutting their mouth, turning around, pivoting like on one foot, and running back in the building.
Yeah, she was getting close to you.
Yeah.
I thought she was gonna do something.
She was gonna.
But you know what's so funny? It's like they don't really understand how smart you are. You're always 2 steps ahead. Oh, you parked. I feel like you parked there on purpose, and you left your dash cam.
Of course I did.
Right, just in case. Huh? And you also saw everybody that was coming in and out.
Right. Who came? Who came? How long they stayed? Who they were talking to on their way in? Who talked to on the way out?
Who?
Right. Who left with who?
Tom.
Right? So. Yeah, so that's Lee Fickenworth, you know, and she's all over Facebook today, and she's attacking people. And she created a fake account, Lee Carosa, and she came on, and she started arguing with Anna Healy on my page, who's known her since they were, like, in grammar school. So she's not going to get anywhere with that. But I bring this up because please don't be that, right? If you're a grifter, if you're somebody that's always looking to get free stuff, if you're going to do that, if you're going to go to, like, a political fundraiser for, like, Brian DePena, you're going to eat the free food even though you don't support him, that's fine. Nobody cares about that.
There's also pantries like all around.
But
anybody can
you got Corunum, right? You got TMF. Well, don't come to TMF. But you got Corunum, you got Bread Roses, plenty of other places you can go. Lazarus House. But if it's something for veterans, if it's something for like fire victims, and you're not that, please don't do that. Just please don't do that.
I wonder what she says when people ask her, like, you know, when did you serve? Like, what does she make up a lie?
I don't know. I know.
How do you make short talk?
I've had a couple of veterans say to me that when they questioned her, her answer was, "Well, my great grandfather was a veteran," right? And so Baby Cakes, when she would get questioned, she would say, well, her family, what we do is for veterans and their families. Well, under that standard, everyone should be able to get it because everyone's related to somebody who's a veteran. Like somebody somewhere in their third cousin, you know, served in Korea. Like everybody's got somebody. Yeah. So.
Well, let's say really quick hi to everyone on Facebook.
Do we have people watching? Oh, yeah, there are people watching. People care?
Yes, they do care. Really? We have Jim Tyler. We have Diony Alcantara, who's Jonathan Alcantara's father.
Okay,
he has a radio show on Sundays where I was invited. Thank you for that. We have Linda Consoli, Wilman Ureña, June Fisher. Hi. And Gregory del Rosario.
Gregory del Rosario. I love that guy.
June is laughing. She goes, ha, 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 don't come to TMF.
Yeah, don't come to TMF. That's not going to work out. Well, you know what she's been doing up until last week? So John Greenlaw has been banned from TMF because he was trying to have us shut down, right? So he was coming, but he was only coming to videotape stuff to try and, like, turn us into the Board of Health because, like, somebody put their spoon in the wrong place. So Michael finally smartened up to his bullshit and had him trespassed and said he's not allowed. But he was there to do all those things to try and have us shut down for Kelly. Because if you watch his videos, it's, hey, Kelly, you're not going to believe this. Like he's talking like he's dumb enough to say it out loud.
Why do they like brown nose her so much?
So when we're at TMF, I look out and Kelly's always parked outside the bus station. She knows if she comes in, there's going to be a problem. So she parks outside the bus station and she has her little minions. They think I don't know who they are, right? John Morrow and some of those people. We'll go out there and they'll talk, Brian. They'll all go out there and they'll talk to her and tell her the scoop that they're learning.
Who's the one with the really big belly? Like he has a huge belly, and he was part of your bash committee one time, and he stole stuff. Who was it?
Oh, D'Amico?
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, they've got. She's got her little minions.
Yeah.
Right,
and they're all like great people.
Yeah, they're the best. If you're not sure, just ask them; they'll be happy to tell you. Oh, yeah, so she does. She hangs around the periphery of TMF because she's always looking for a way to screw Mike Gorman, who, by the way, is the nicest guy you're ever going to want to meet in your life. In my lifetime, I've only met two people who didn't like Mike Gorman. One was that girl that used to work at Daybreak, Megan, who was a complete fraud. And the second one was Kells Burchell Frazier, both of whom hate Michael because, and I know why Kells Baby Cakes hates Michael, because Michael gets the love and adoration of the community that Kelly wishes that she had. And I get it, right? If you're somebody who is not accomplished, and I'm not saying this as an insult, I'm just saying if you're someone who feels as though you're not accomplished, and you like Sharon Marie desperately need the adulation of the public, desperately need to be thanked. You're just
frustrated.
You need affirmation. You need someone to validate who you are, and you go out in the community and you do stuff, and then you see Mike Gorman getting all of this praise. There's a reason for that. Michael Gorman doesn't do a selfie while he's handing a homeless person a sandwich. You go, look what a good person I am. Kelly does, or she did up until I started calling her out. So did her soon-to-be ex-husband.
And he also gets things done. Like
he does
get executes on things, and he sees opportunities, and he goes for them.
Right. And so I write about it in the Valley Patriot, and he calls me and goes, you didn't have to do that. I don't do it for that. And he does it. He's never once picked up the phone and called the Tribune or the Globe or the Herald, but he has been celebrated by the Celtics. They brought him, you know how they do the hero hero of the game. They bring in somebody from the community. He's, I think, twice now been recognized by the Celtics. He's part of the Celtics program. He's been on the front page of the Boston Globe. He's been on the front page of the Tribune, which I didn't like very much because we're kind of like the official paper of the TMF. But anything that helps get the TMF message out to help the homeless in Lawrence, I'm okay with. So Michael called me the day that it happened. He goes, I didn't think about this, but when I interviewed with the Tribune, now that I'm seeing it on the front page, I just wanted you to hear about it for me that it's in today's paper. And I was like, Michael, I'm okay with that. Especially, I think it was Bill Burt that wrote the story, and I think he's a pretty good guy. So I was like, I was okay with that. But see, Kelly sees all of that, and she thinks that should be me, right? That should be me, so she hates on Michael. And twice, more than twice, she has tried to have Michael either shut down, her and Debo either had tried to have Michael shut down, or thrown shade on them. I actually did a video once and accused him of stealing money. And like Mike Gorman, like, are you kidding me? Like Mike Gorman, you could accuse anybody else in the world and you might get somebody to believe it. But Mike Gorman, like seriously, this is a guy that pays money out of his pocket. When we short on food, he goes out and he buys pizzas. He goes out and he's like, this is a guy that he has a full-time job and then full-time helps TMF. So it was his birthday last week. Happy birthday, Michael. We appreciate you and all the stuff that you do in the community.
Yes.
And everybody on your team. Everybody on your team is great.
Next topic.
What do we have? What do we have next?
Whatever you want.
Where do you want to go? We got.
You want to talk about Manny? Might as well.
Let's talk a little bit about Manny. So Manny Gonalez, he's a hero firefighter. He's also not just a hero firefighter, but he's a community hero because he and Wayne Hayes, both heroes, started a group called Heal Lawrence. And if you don't know what Heal Lawrence is, please pay very close attention because forget about the politics for a second. These are guys that found a way to help fire victims. What they realized was, because Manny's a firefighter, that he would go to a fire, there'd be 6 families displaced, the Red Cross would swoop in, they'd put these people up in a hotel room for 3 days, and then when the cameras went away, would screw out of town, and these people would be on the streets. And nobody would know that they were on the streets because the story in the paper was, oh, we're putting them up in the Holiday Inn, but didn't say, but only for 3 days. So Manny and Wayne saw that this was going on a bunch of years ago. I'm going to say maybe 20 years ago. And said, how can we find a way to help these families to bridge that gap? So what they did, it was brilliant, by the way. When he first explained it to me, I couldn't believe nobody else had ever thought of this. You know, like if your friend's getting married, they have a wedding registry, and you go to whatever store, Sears online, and there's a list of what items they'd like to have. Yeah. So they set up a fire registry. After the fire, they go to the families and say, what do you need? Well, maybe their couch got burned up, but their clothes are okay. You know, maybe their TV got blown up, but their couch is okay. So the family tells them what they need, what size clothes they are, what size sneakers they are, what individual items those specific people need, and then they'll list it online like a wedding registry. And people in the community like you and me and Mike Gorman can go on after a fire on Heal Lawrence. I think it's heallawrence.org or .com, but you can find them on Facebook, and see that there was a fire on Lowell Street. There's 68 people displaced, and here's the items that they need.
Very detailed.
So this is great work. They also will go pick up items, gift cards, bring them to the people, help them move. I've seen Manny and someone else carrying a couch up 3 flights of stairs to help a family that was staying somewhere after a fire, and they needed a couch. And there's Manny, a firefighter who spent probably 8 hours in a building trying to put a fire out the night before. Then the next day or 2 or 3 days later, climbing stairs with a couch trying to help people. So Manny is a hero, and I get a lot of shit from people.
Why?
Because Brian's my friend, so they assume that I'm against Manny, right? You're with Brian, so you must be against Manny because they're running against each other. Yeah. They're both my friends. Manny's a hero. Brian's my friend. They're running against each other. We'll talk about the politics, fine. But if I disagree with Manny because I disagree with him, if I disagree with Brian because I disagree with them, it's not that I'm attacking them. And I'm sick of people trying to confuse those two things. You did an interview with Manny.
I did.
And
on Sunday in
what
Spanish.
was really interesting, and I don't want to throw shade on Altagracia Maggi because I do love her.
You don't love her. You just think she's pretty.
No, I don't. No.
You do. I actually threw fire. I threw fire at her.
You did?
Today on the show.
I like her as a person.
Well, as a person, I don't know her. Professionally, right. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. I didn't say anything about her personally. It's all professional. She's not.
You know me. I like bigger women that are curvy, and
that's true. She's little.
She's not my type.
I have nothing against her personally. She's professionally.
I think that she serves a great service in the community.
No, she doesn't.
No. Okay. Thanks for coming, kids. Good night.
She does not.
I like her anyways, but what she doesn't get, and I think what you guys did, by doing it, highlighted what she's getting wrong. And I'm only saying this as somebody who likes her, right? Is that what we try to do on this show, whether I like you or I don't, you come on, I'm going to treat you fair. Just going to treat you fair, whether we like you or we don't. And I don't think that she can do that. And I haven't seen her be able to do that. You guys, neither one of you, and your friend's name is?
Jonathan Alcantara.
I didn't want to get his last name. And what's the other name?
Diony.
And you have that really gorgeous woman that's on your show too, right? Vanessa?
Well, she didn't. No, she wasn't part of that one. She's part of the Monday through Friday. So on Sundays we have El Vacilón Informativo, where it's just a 2-hour show every Sunday.
Can we just talk about Vanessa for the next hour? Because that I could do.
We need to give information.
Okay, all right, okay.
So that show, I was invited as a special guest to be part of the interview with Manny, but Vanessa's not.
Neither one of you are supporting Manny, but you had him on your show and you treated him fairly.
Of course.
I would say, right?
Yes, of course.
So talk about what he talked about. What were his answers? What did he bring to the table that you think that your listeners actually were able to learn something from him?
So, we asked them a couple of questions about, who has done more. For example, one of the first ones was, who has done more for the firefighters? Was it Rivera or was it, Brian? He didn't give a straight answer for that. He also shared that
he couldn't give a straight answer on
that? He couldn't give a straight answer.
I can give you a straight answer on that. It certainly wasn't Dan.
I know it wasn't Dan. And I kept pushing him, and he's really good at conversating, by the way, Tom. He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy. And I don't have anything against him personally. I don't know why people think that I do. I just don't think he's the guy for the job. But anyways, we did ask him about where he got inspiration to run for mayor. Apparently he ran for mayor back in 2013.
He did.
I was unaware.
He was on my show a number of times.
Nice. Yeah. So I was unaware, and he brought that up, how he now, he's ready, he's retiring, kids are older, and he can now, come into play. He did attack a lot the mayor.
He attacked the mayor, or you just disagreed with him?
He disagreed with him, but he also made little side comments about, the new school, the Leahy School and the Oliver School, which, have been renovated and now are already, working. And he said that he didn't start that project, and why is he taking credit for that project? And but at the same time he did give him credit for saying at least he started with the project and he didn't let it go, he made sure it got completed.
That's good, because what I was looking for out of you was, and I don't know if you remember the first question I asked him when he was here, and he's going to be back, and I think we're going to have a debate. I think the man is going to say yes.
Okay.
But the first question I asked him was, can you tell me something that you liked that Brian DePena did? Because that's always a test question for me for any candidate. Yeah. When Brian Shortsleeve was here, I asked him the same question to Mari Healy, right? Because if you can't in your head, if you've never even thought one good thing about the person you're running against, then you're just a hater, right? Then why should we listen to anything else you have to say? And so, what was he able to?
He was able to do that, but at the same time took things away. So the whole renovating of Extra Street, which is beautiful. I don't know if you've seen the images. He said, well, yeah, it's nice, but he could have made the sidewalks shorter so they can be extra parking. It was just very. What do I say? It was everything against him, and he was really hard to ask him questions for him to be very direct. He kept, going the other way.
I tried to tell him this after he did the show here, and I think it kind of fell on deaf ears. So I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it publicly. I've put it on Facebook a bunch of times, so it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Manny is a extremely honest, decent, God-fearing, good person as a human being, and that's his strength. Yeah. And attacking takes away from that strength. It shows people a different side of you that none of us have seen. And I'm not even really sure he's comfortable in his own skin doing it.
He's not. I can tell he's not, because when I was I didn't attack him, but
I think he's surrounding himself with the wrong people.
He is definitely surrounding himself with the wrong people. Just in that same interview that we had, he brought in 3 people from his committee, and they were just joking around. They were laughing, making little smart remarks, even trying to attack me too in the beginning. And I was
you don't want to do that.
Don't do that to me. I'm just here. One of them, the lady that accompanies him, Dai Segura, she was like, oh, we're not gonna do things personal. I was like, wait a minute, this is my job. I'm not here to be personal with anybody or be disrespectful. I have questions that I have ready to ask. She tried to come in and everybody that was there, they all try to come in and try to be smart, or if we fact check them on something, they will laugh oh, because you guys like Brian. And it's it's immature. It's not politics. It worries me. It worries me because if Manny does win and he gets into the office, like, what is he going to do with the people around him?
Right.
He has to put them in check.
Right.
Like, you know what? That's something, you said it too. That's something that Brian has. He puts people in check and he puts them in their place,
Right.
which he should.
He fired Julissa.
He fired Julissa because she did
was his
something
friend.
wrong.
Yeah, she was his friend. She campaigned for him, but he had to fire her because she wasn't doing her job.
Exactly. You have to, at the end of the day, you have to focus and you have to think about that.
Right.
I really wish Manny would be a little bit more about what he wants to do, his plans.
Well,
He also attacked the administration about the auxiliary cops, that he wants to bring that back, and I kind of told him that actually has nothing to do with.
Yeah, that was part of the Biden.
Mayor.
That was part of a Biden
defund the police.
program. Yeah, but what I was trying to say about Manny is that, and I've said it a number of times, and I hope he takes it with the love that I think had he come out as a candidate for mayor and said at the beginning and held it throughout the campaign that I'm not running against Brian, I'm running for the job. And I have nothing against Brian. He's done some good things. I just think I can do a better job. And he campaigned on his strength of being a nice guy that people liked, and out-niced Brian, because Brian is a nice guy. Like
he is.
People, other than the insiders who hate him because they wouldn't give him a job or they fired him from a job or whatever, most people genuinely like Brian. He's a likable person. He's a good man. He's a God-fearing man. He's generally an honest person. And when you have two nice guys running against each other, generally the guy that goes negative loses. Almost all the time. Every once in a while there's an exception. But if Manny had come out and just said, I like Brian, he's done a decent job, I think I could do a better job, and here's how, I think right now it would be neck and neck. I think they'd be 50-50 going into this primary on September 16th. Instead, I think it's 70-30 Brian right now. And I know that Manny is gaining a lot of ground on the ground. I know he's doing a lot of door knocking, putting up a lot of signs, and that, don't dismiss that, because you don't see that on social media a lot. You don't see the gains. It's not being...
No, that works. Of course it works.
Brian... Diana DiZoglio beat a 14-year incumbent for state representative by knocking on 5,000 doors and going into his own neighborhood and knocking doors in his own neighborhood. She beat Dave Teresi, who'd been there for 14 years, whose family owned Jackson Lumber, who had more money than God, who was really well-liked and well-respected in the community. And she went out and she, with like $10,000, kicked the shit out of him all over the community because she just knocked on doors and was nice. And when they would say, I like Dave Teresi, she'd say, I like him too. I just think he can do a better job. And that's how she beat him. And I think if Manny had run that kind of a campaign, I think it would be neck and neck right now. Now there's still time.
I think it's the people around him.
It is the people. If he got rid of, if he told people like Julissa, you're no longer allowed around. Sharon Burchell.
I did ask about her.
The negative people that are around, the D'Amicos, grifters, people who are. And by the way, make no mistake about it. Those people are only helping Manny, not because they like Manny, but because they hate Brian.
Because they hate Brian.
Debo Brown is not and Kelly Frazier is not helping Manny because Manny's a nice guy. They're helping Manny because they hate Brian, because they had jobs with Brian and they lost their jobs with Brian, and now they're looking for somebody else to give them a job. That's what, by the way, that's why Sharon Burchell's running for city council in Methuen, because Baby Cakes needs a job.
No, but Manny was, overall, he's a really nice guy.
He is, but I wish that he would stop surrounding himself with negative people.
He sounded a little cocky at one point. I think he felt the pressure of me. Yeah, of me and Jonathan. Because Jonathan and I Jonathan is known on the Spanish radio to be, like, strong. Like, you know how you attack people frontal? He's like that. Okay. And he says that, like, I'm his mini-me now. I'm like, no, I'm not. I am myself, okay?
If anything, you're a mini-me.
I know. Well, you guys fight amongst yourselves about that.
We'll fight over you.
But he said, like, I'm gonna be the one to cut the ribbon at the new police station. So there goes, all that glory he's so proud of. I'm gonna be the one to do it. And then he said, when after the elections, when I become mayor, you guys will invite me. Will you guys invite me to the show? Like, he's just trying to be like, trying to do a little smart remark. But I did ask him about Julissa. Julissa making the comment, which will be our next topic.
Yeah, let's get into that. So before you say that, we'll tell people what that means. So this past week, Fidelina Santiago, Lawrence City Council for Prospect Hill, pled guilty on a plea agreement, which I don't understand why the DA even did a plea agreement. It makes no sense to me. They have it on video. Why would you plea her out? To voter fraud. She and a campaign worker were stealing ballots out of people's mailboxes from mail-in voting, which is supposed to be the most secure elections in the world, filling them out. And this is what we didn't know prior to the conviction. People were always asking, did she just steal them or was she filling them out and sending them in? She's filling them out and sending them in, voting for herself. She literally stole her seat. And so she pled guilty, and as part of the plea deal, she had to resign from the council. Julissa Nunez then goes on Facebook and says that what she did was, and I don't have it in front of me, if you can pull it. I have it. That what she did was an example of integrity. Oh, you have it. Good. God bless you. So here's what Julissa Nunez posted the day that she resigned with the resignation. By
the way, this is made with AI, like fully.
Oh, yeah, you could tell.
Yeah. Just the same.
But where's the thing about integrity? She served with honor and integrity. She served with honor and integrity. She literally stole ballots out of people's mailboxes. She stole ballots out of people's and she served with honor and integrity. If that's your version of honor and integrity, you shouldn't be working on any campaign. And I'm going to say this out of the gate. I know it's going to piss off a lot of my friends. And I mean it, John Regal. And I mean it, Manny Gonalez. And I mean it, Stephanie Infante, Giovanni Rodriguez, Wendy Luzon.
They're working with Julissa too?
I'm just saying, if any of you are working with Julissa and you allow her to work on your campaign, you allow her to hold signs for you, I'm out. Don't ever expect any help from me because I am never going to support any candidate who would allow someone who encourages voter fraud, might even have engaged in voter fraud themselves on other campaigns, to work on their campaign. Manny issued a press release on this. It was very weak. First of all, he started off with, rumor turned to reality this week as a city councilor pled guilty to voter fraud. Well, first of all,
so what the other side, the Bryan supporters were saying, everything we say is a rumor. Is that what he's saying? And then now we came up with the proof. And
well, I kind of saw that as a slap in the face because the Valley Patriot reported with video.
That's true.
In November of 2023 with video on this show. We broke the story on this show with video showing voter fraud. And Manny, and so I called his campaign manager, Lenina, who's wonderful, by the way. If he wins, if he has a chance of winning, it's going to be because of her. If he listened to her and not the idiots around him, he could win this race. And I called her and I said, not for anything, but rumor turned to reality? Like, is that a slap in the face at the Valley Patriot? Because we actually reported that story. It wasn't a rumor. It was a legitimate news story that we proved with video. Like, we had video. It's not like I just said it happened and people had to say, oh, well, where's your proof? There was video. And she said, you know what, that kind of got by me. I don't think they meant it anything. And if it was anybody else, I would have said, you're full of shit. That was a slap in the face. But I believe her. I believe her because she's a nice person. And I also believe Manny because he's a nice person. If this was another campaign, if this was the Rivera campaign, if this was the Lantigua campaign, if this was the Wendy Luzon campaign, I might not believe it. But Manny's an incredibly honest person. And he's a decent person. I'm going to keep saying that, and even though I'm probably repeating myself. But it's true, and so I believe it. But it did hurt when I read it. I was like, rumor, really?
Anyways, get to the context.
And then he went to something in the neighborhood of he condemned what Fidelina did, but kind of left it there. Like,
wow,
where is the condemnation of Julissa, who works on your campaign, who went on Facebook and encouraged and dismissed.
And supported her, basically saying that she did a great job. Well, he did say that in the interview. He kind of did say, she did do her job. And I said, well, yeah, she did her job. A job that she stole. I even told him in the interview. I said she gets paid, roughly. I don't know what the exact amount is. They get about $1,500 a month to be on the city council. And she stole, like, it was only a couple of votes. He goes, oh, but she did a good job. Yeah, she did a good job, but the other person could have done a good job too, or even better.
Let me tell you why there were people
fraud
who were willing to encourage voter fraud and defend someone who committed voter fraud when in 90% of the other circumstances never would. Right? You would. When was the last time somebody committed voter fraud in any community and you heard people who have decent public reputations defend that? It's because Fidelina was the fifth vote against Bryan. Right now, you have 4 councilors that vote with Bryan no matter what, which isn't any better, right?
No.
And 4 councilors that vote against Bryan no matter what. Yeah. And Fidelina has always sided with the people who are voting against Bryan no matter what. So those people who hate Bryan were defending. It's kind of like the people who hate Donald Trump so much that now that he's cleaning up crime in D.C., are mad that he's cleaning up crime because it's him doing it, right? It's the same dynamic. They're defending voter fraud because the person committing the voter fraud was on their team attacking Brian and was against Brian and will vote against whatever Brian wanted. So you had this dynamic where people couldn't even, and even Manny couldn't even bring himself to condemn Julissa Nunez. And that was a little disappointing. Now, he might going forward, that might happen. I mean, he's a good guy.
Yeah,
and I know.
What tells me if he becomes mayor, something like that happens, he's going to give people opportunities. He's going to give them a chance. No, you got to get rid of some people like that. Nip it in the butt.
I think my only reservation about Manny becoming mayor, too, is who he will surround himself with. Is it going to be the people he's surrounding himself with now?
Yes.
And if he gets in.
Most of those people used to work for City Hall.
Right.
They used to work for the city, and they
and
lost their jobs.
Right, they're all mad and they want jobs. Right, that's right.
That's all they want. You think they care about Manny?
They listen.
That's the difference.
You and I both know that if he wins, the minute he puts a comma in the wrong place, they're going to do to him what they're doing to Brian.
That's the difference between me and a lot of these people that are they're now the professional commentators on Facebook. I started liking Manny. You remember he was here. I love what he said. I
still haven't decided who I'm going to support yet.
Listen to me. I listen to what the person says. Mm-hmm. I look at the information that they give me. What lets me know that that's a leader? I basically interview and I see what they do. That's how I run. It's not about, political favor. I don't ask for anything. I even told you, I don't even want a freaking job. I don't want a job. Right. Even if it were to call me tomorrow and say, I don't want to work for City Hall. I'm all set. I don't want none of that.
Someone in City Hall called me in March and said, we're looking for a city position, and your intern girl would be perfect for this.
I'm not interested.
And I said, listen, I can ask her, but I can tell you, I'm like 95% sure she's not going to take it.
I don't want it. I've always been a community advocate. Even before I came into the media world, you can go back to my Facebook.
We got to get the camera on. You should see how cute and animated she is right now.
Well, you can go back to my Facebook days. I've always been very vocal about education, about politics, local politics, about things that work, that don't work. And then we met with Brian, and I got to listen to what he has to say. I got to see the things that he's done around the city. I've lived here for 24 years in this area. I worked at for the city of Lawrence before. I worked for the public school for over 2 years. I worked at the charter school. I worked at the YMCA for 8 years. So I know community. I've been in the community. I've been in different organizations and committees and such. I know what I'm talking about. I'm not just saying things out of my ass because I'm looking for a fucking benefit. I could care less. I am looking at the person who I think
she is.
I am looking at the person who I think, because it's my opinion, who I think is going to do a better job, and that's Brian. No questions asked. If Manny is that easy to play with his mind and brainwash him, then I don't know. I like a person who stands strong on their 2 feet.
But I give you credit, and I give Jonathan credit, that you are not supporting Manny, but you had him on the show, not to attack him and make him look bad, but to give him an opportunity to convince your audience. And by the way, that's what we do at the Valley Patriot every day. Every day, that's what we do on this show. That's what we do on the Valley Patriot. So I give you and Jonathan a lot of credit for that, because on the other end, the people who hate Brian, again, I'm going to say Alta Garcia because I love her, and I do love her. I love what she does. I don't always agree with her. In fact, I rarely agree with her, but I love what she does. But she's not capable of having Brian on and treat him with respect and give him an opportunity to convince her viewers, her listeners, that he's right.
Remove the emotion out of it. Right. I even wrote it. Right. I said, wow. I even called you crying. Remember? I was like, oh my God. Like, I was all emotional. It was it was an emotional day. But it taught me a lesson. It's like, I can't really I'm not even taking this personal, to be honest with you. It's just freaking politics. Right. It's a job that needs to be filled. It's a job that needs to get done.
You touched on it. A lot of people, too many people, take it personal and make it personal.
Yeah.
And that's why you see people like, well, Duggan's defending Brian because Brian buys ads. If you think that I could be bought with ads that are temporary, when the election's over, the ads go away.
How many people try to buy you all the time?
All the time. I've actually had candidates call me and go, Tom, you were just attacking me on your podcast. I bought ads in your paper last month. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Did you think buying ads was going to mean I was going to go easy on you? Because you don't know Tom Duggan. What did Bugs Bunny say? You don't know me very well.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know me very well if that's what you thought was going to happen. The only thing that buying ads gets anybody, and I will say that there is one benefit to buying ads in the Valley Patriot, is that if I have something negative that I'm going to report on you and you're advertising with me, I give you a heads up. I let you know in advance that it's coming because
but it's coming.
Because I have but it's coming, right? Because I have a business relationship with you, and if you're gonna have a business relationship with me, you shouldn't have to worry if I'm going to blindside you, right? So it's kind of like, you've got a client and the client is going to do something wrong, and you have to tell the client or do something with the client that the client's not going to like. You give them a heads up, right? So like there are candidates, there are businesses. Look, there was a business 3 years ago that was going to have some legal problems, and I had some friends that called me and said, "Hey, this guy's a friend of yours." I said, "He's not a friend, he's an advertiser, but I get along with him." They said, "Well, he's going to have some legal problems, and here's why. And you're going to get a press release in the next couple of days." And I called them and I gave them a heads up. Now, is that the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do? We can debate that for 5 hours if you want.
It's up to you. It's your paper.
But otherwise, if you're a candidate and you buy an ad in my paper and I find out I make something up like stealing money at work, if you think I'm not going to write that story, you haven't met me. Right?
I know.
So the people that run around and say, "Oh, well, they're always trying to impugn the motive because they don't want to talk about the content of the story that we're talking about," right? Yeah. So it's always like, well, you're only doing this because, like with baby cakes, right? You're only reporting on baby cakes because you don't like her. No, I'm reporting on her because she's doing bad things. It's a bonus that I don't like her. Like,
it's like, yes.
Right. Like there's no rule that says
if I don't like it, let me put her on the front.
Right. There's no rule that says I can't enjoy the story while I'm writing it, right? Like I've had people who have been my enemies, people who I will say that Lenny Duggan and I have buried the hatchet over the years, but Lenny Duggan and I were at war, bitter war. We hated each other for 25 years. He went to jail. I'm the reason he went to jail. I ran into him probably 3 or 4 years ago, and we broke bread, and everything's fine. But I can tell you that people came on my page and said, "You're only reporting on this because you don't like Lenny." And the fact is, I reported on it because he committed a felony and he was going to jail.
Exactly.
The bonus was that I enjoyed writing the story.
That was
the bonus.
But
right?
One of the things to finish this conversation that was contradicting was, not giving the current administration basically, credit for the new schools, which I posted a video. I tagged you. Did you see the video on the Oliver School? I have more. I have more.
I used to work at the Oliver School.
That's nothing.
I know. I used to work at the Oliver School.
Okay, well, that's nothing.
I taught at the Oliver School.
That's the water that's leaking right next to the cafeteria where kids used to
I
eat.
was 19 years old, and I signed up to be a substitute at 19.
Wow.
I ran for office when I was 18, and I lost by 11 votes. And the mayor called me and said, was Kevin Sullivan at the time, when he got sworn in, he said, "I want you to work for my administration." I said, "I don't know what I could do." He goes, "You just graduated high school, you know education, right?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Why don't you sign up to be a substitute?" Fine.
Okay.
I signed up to be a substitute. They bring me into Miss Soroyce's 5th grade class. She was pregnant. She ended up having the baby. She ended up not coming back, and I ended up being a permanent sub and doing her at 19.
Oh my God.
Doing a 5th grade class at the Oliver School for an entire school year.
Poor kids.
And it was crazy. It was a crazy experience, right? So I understand the Oliver School. I spent a lot of time there. My mom was the school nurse there for a long time. My heart is in the Oliver School, and I'm glad they kept the front facade.
Me too.
But
I worked there, Tom, back in 2018, and that school was falling apart.
Yeah, it was falling apart when I was there.
I never suffered from acne. And this is, I never suffered from acne, not even as a teenager. Started working there, and I got acne. I used to get sick. We had kids throwing up all the time. They used to get sick. Kids getting sent home. Kids with asthma. There was always an issue with something. It was disgusting. So I was really happy to see that they were going to, update the Oliver School and the Leahy School, which I hear was in the same condition.
I worked at the Oliver in 1987, and it needed to be torn down back then.
Yeah. So it was contradicting, right? Because they didn't give him credit. They said, "You didn't get that started. That wasn't you. That was Kendris Vasquez during his interim mayor." Right? He was an intern, right?
Listen.
He says, "Oh, but, it's done. But, why didn't he think to, at the same time when he was going to build it, to do like a garage, a parking garage or something for the teachers?" I was like, wait, didn't you just say, like, he didn't even start?
You just said it wasn't him that started the project.
And now you're giving him credit only because it's the bad thing that you want to bring up, right?
Well, here's the thing, and this happens in every election, not every election, but most elections. The person that you're running against, you can't give them credit for anything. And when you do, you give them what's called a poop sandwich. Okay. Yeah, you give them his flowers, but you add a but at the end, and then you make it a negative. So you're leaving people with a negative impression, even though you technically gave them credit. And I'll say this, I've been through now, I think when we were at Blue Lounge, somebody asked me how many mayors I'd been through, and I think we counted up to 11, right? So I think I've been through like 9 or 11 mayors in my lifetime. And
in Lawrence,
every project starts with one mayor, whether it's Lawrence, Methuen, or anywhere else, and usually doesn't end with that one mayor, usually ends with the next mayor. When the next mayor comes in and they're halfway through the project, there are still cost overruns to deal with. There are still construction problems. There are still, a pipe breaks, and now all of a sudden you have to buy more materials, which increases the cost of the project. And there's project management to deal with. There's project management consultants that sometimes aren't on the up and up that you have to fire, and now that increases the cost. So it's not like he came into office, Kendra set it in motion, he just sat back and let it happen. Like, your administration still has to deal on a day-to-day basis with the construction company, with the engineering company, with the consulting company, with the company that provides all of the bricks and the mortar and the equipment.
It's a lot of work, a lot of follow-up, and you have to be on top of people when it comes to construction.
Think about this. When you're building a new school, you have to have electricians pull electrical permits and plumbers pull plumbing permits. All that stuff takes time. It has to be done on a time schedule. It has to be done right. You have to make sure that people are certified. You have to have inspectors go out and make sure that they're certified, make sure they're doing it right. So it's not like people get the impression that, well, Brian or any other mayor came in and the project already started, so all he did was sit back and wait for them to finish. You see with the police station and everything else, there's a lot of work that goes into it, whether you started it or you didn't.
And you know what? Brian is on top of things. He's a businessman. He knows how to talk to people. He knows how to get things done. He knows how to push people and be like, you know what? This needs to be done by the end of this. You know what I mean? Like that sort of attitude and that sort of character that he has.
I wish Manny would listen to Lanita, step away from the D'Amicos and the Sharon Birchells and the Kellys and the Debos and the Julissas.
Oh, Julissa threw you a little...
What did she say? She loves me,
She
Listen,
does?
she's mad because she hit on me, and I wouldn't go out with her after her and Bill Green had their little breakup.
Okay.
And I went and I covered their court thing, and I repaired her reputation publicly after he smeared her.
Yeah.
We went out went out to lunch at Jay Bryan's, and she asked me if I would want to go out and have dinner with her. Like this was kind of like. The lunch was kind of like after court. She wanted to thank me for helping her, so I went to, and then she asked me if I'd have dinner with her, and I politely declined.
Okay.
And ever since then, I've been an asshole.
Well,
ever since then, I'm no good.
I made a comment or a post on Facebook talking about people that are communicating, and they're basically just throwing things like out there that are not true, or they try to say like, for example, Gracia Maggi, she posted like the billboards, situation. She just tried to say like corruption. I was like, wait, is that really corruption? Have you looked up like the laws? Have you seen that it actually is not? Doesn't look good. Maybe it doesn't look good, but it's not corruption.
Right.
So that's what I was trying to get at. You know what she wrote? She said, oh, but look who's talking. You work with Tom Duggan. All he does is write false stories. So then I said...
Give me one.
I said, okay, which story is false? And then she put laughing faces. And then I said, are you offended by this comment? Like, do you feel like connected to it? And she just kept laughing. And then she had a minion come in. And he's like, yeah, Tom he writes lies. And he does this. I said, well, everything is published online. So why don't you go find me a story and tell me what story that's false? Crickets.
Right.
Never heard back.
Right.
Never heard back.
By the way, this is the same woman who defended the child pornographer, Giovanni Mate, who went to city council against Stephanie.
Yeah.
Brian was dumb enough to hire him. I told him not to hire him because he had already screwed Marcos. He was working for Marcos at one point.
Okay.
Screwed Marcos to help Manny. And I said to Manny, if he screwed Marcos to help you, he's going to screw you to help someone else down the road.
Yeah,
he turned out to be downloading child porn.
This is going to sound awful.
But after he was caught and after he was convicted, Julissa went on Facebook and defended him. Like, listen, you can be my best friend. If you're downloading child porn, I'm not defending you.
No, of course not. But this is going to sound awful.
Oh, okay.
His craziness and pedophilia situation that anybody has doesn't take away from the job that they can do. I know. It sounds awful. They shouldn't be in those positions. They shouldn't be. However,
I think it takes away from everything.
No, but at the end of the day, if you know somebody, for example, that's an alcoholic and they do a great job, that you have a writer who's an alcoholic who drinks all day, every day, and is always writing, is very creative, do you take that away from him because he's an alcoholic?
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, it's a good discussion to have. We have other things to get to. We'll play
Hi,
with
Randy
this.
Carter.
Hey, Randy. We'll talk about him in a second, too. Well, let's...
I know that sounds awful. I don't mean to say... I'm not trying to defend that guy at all.
Well, let's take the situation.
I'm trying to be...
Let's see if that situation works. So if a guy is a really good mechanic, right, and he works in your car and he does a great job and you recommend all your friends and you find out that he's a rapist, would you say, well, he's a rapist, but he was a really good mechanic?
No,
I don't know.
You don't say that. No, I know.
So I think...
I know, but what you said about I'm talking about the intention that you meant. You said like you shouldn't hire this guy.
Yes.
He didn't go based off of the child pornography. He went based off.
Well,
of
he didn't know about the child. He didn't know about the child pornography.
Yeah, exactly. But he went based off of the work that he knew he could do. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
Except when I called Brian and I called Octavian and I called Andrea and I called a whole bunch of people up there and said, you cannot hire this guy. Now, we didn't know about the child pornography at the time. I was going on character because this guy worked for Marcos. This guy was Marcos's aide at the State House. He was loyal to Marcos. And then he betrayed Marcos to go help Manny.
Betrayed?
He betrayed Marcos. They were enemies.
Okay.
Marcos and Brian were enemies.
Oh,
Marcos,
okay.
Brian recruited Francisco Polino to run against Marcos.
And now Francisco don't like it.
Right. So now Francisco and Brian are on the outs, right? So, but the thing is, I said to Brian, I said, this guy was loyal to Marcos, but he betrayed Marcos to take a job with you. What makes you think down the road, because he's got bad character, that he's not going to betray you and take all of your secrets and run to your enemies and help them?
He took the emotion part out of it as a leader, as he should, and he hired him based on the work he knew he could do. Because you say he was a state aide.
He was Marcos's aide.
That's not just for anybody. That's a respectable job. So that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm not trying to defend Brian at all. I'm just, you brought up the intention from the beginning. And I
just think if you're going to be Julissa Nunez and you're going to call out Tommy Duggan and everybody else in the community and you're going to attack people and pretend that you're the purveyor of morality in the community, and then you go out and you defend a child molester after he's convicted on Facebook for everyone to see. I'm not like saying she did it in a bar someday when she was drunk. And then you come out and you defend someone who's convicted of voter fraud, but you're supposed to be the person that's calling out Brian for what you call fraud, which never turns out to actually be fraud, right? It was not fraudulent to use those billboards, stories. Right? So if you're going to be that person, then your house better be clean, and her house is not clean. Her house is not clean. The D'Amico's houses are not clean. Sharon Burchell's house is certain. Well, you're going to learn in the next couple of editions of the Valley Patriot how unclean her house is. Baby Cakes is not clean. Debo is not clean. And by Manny surrounding himself with these, I get that, like, you can't control who wants to support you. I get that, right? Someone wants to put a sign on their lawn. They're not someone that you like, whatever.
They have the right to
But I'm talking about being in your campaign headquarters, being in videos for your campaign. If you have those people around you, then it takes away from the fact that, I'm going to say for the 5th time in this show, he's one of the most decent, moral, honest people alive.
I believe
but
it.
People who don't know that and see Debo Brown holding a sign, that says a very different message than what you are. When people
Insurance fraud.
When people see Sharon Burchell at your kickoff at the Elks, that sends a very different message than who and what you are. So that's my only advice to. And Manny, listen, he's my friend. Take my advice. Don't take my advice. I'm not going to be upset one way or the other. You're the one that's got to get elected. By the way, he can
don't take things personal, Manny.
And he can still turn it around.
He can.
The election is September 17th. Whether he wins,
are there going to be primaries?
Yeah, oh yeah.
For mayor?
In Lawrence, they never cancel. That's the one great thing about Lawrence. They never cancel
for
a
mayor?
primary. Yep. Even if there's one person on the ballot.
Really?
Even if there's nobody there.
What do they do that for?
Because if there's only one person on the ballot, under the law, no matter how many people are on the ballot, 2 people get nominated for November. Okay. So if there's only one person on the ballot, and 20 people run on write-ins, whoever gets the most write-in votes becomes the second candidate on the ballot in November.
Okay.
So now it's the guy that got the signatures on the ballot and the person that did the write-in. By the way, that's how I won in the school committee. There were 3 incumbents running for 3 jobs for the Lawrence School Committee. Pete McLaughlin pulled papers, and on the day that they would do, announced to the world, I think it was on the front page of the Tribune, that he was not going to turn his papers in. So now you were going to have 2 people running for 3 spots. So I tried to get nomination papers within a day to get I didn't get enough signatures. So I ran on a write-in campaign in the primary. I got 4,100 write-in votes in the primary.
Interesting.
And then my name was on the final ballot, and I ended up winning on the final ballot. But if Lawrence had done what Methuen did, I never would have had a chance. I would have had to run on write-ins in the final, and then it's me versus 100 other people doing write-ins. Whoever gets the most write-ins ends up winning that 3rd spot.
So we can use those numbers for stats. Right? Will we get that information too, right? Okay, that counts. I want to say hi to Alex Rodriguez, who's watching. He's my friend, my co-host at Cápsula Roja podcast. Oh my God, I'm in so many shows now, Tom.
Right.
But this is my favorite one.
Yeah?
I get to speak English.
My favorite one is the one that you're on with Vanessa.
The morning show.
God, she's beautiful.
I love speaking English.
Can you please just tell me she's not related to Modesto Maldonado?
I don't know.
Because that would just hurt.
I really don't know.
That would just hurt.
I don't know.
I've known Modesto forever. It would just kill me that if that was his daughter or his granddaughter, I'd feel really
I don't know
horrible.
much about her. I don't.
Wayne Hayes says, I believe Juan Manny Gonalez is going to hire qualified people with integrity like himself for Juan Lawrence. Yeah, he might.
He might.
But we're not
he
getting...
will have a few, though, who are not.
But we're not getting that indication out of who he's surrounding himself with during the primary. That's all I'm saying.
Because why are these people working so hard?
Right.
Why are they trying so hard?
They hate Brian, and they want a job.
And they used to work there.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
All right, what's next?
So so we're going to touch on baby cakes real quick, and then we're going to talk about the anniversary.
Yes.
So I posted 5 minutes before we went on today, baby cakes, Kelly Burchell Frazier, Sharon Burchell's criminal daughter, announced today. It's very sad. Do we have that? Well, I'll read it on my page if you don't have that. We'll pull it up. It's a very sad day for her because she has announced.
Shame on you, Tom. Why do you do these things? Poor lady.
Think about where we were 2 years ago. Think about where we were 2 years ago. Right,
I love everything. I love everything you wrote.
Did you really?
Like,
and I left a whole bunch of stuff out.
And due to the fact, and this, and that, and 900 lobsters, and the CEO. No.
So here's what she wrote. IVCS, which is International Veterans Care Services, even though they only service veterans in Lawrence and Methuen. She writes, good morning. It says, feeling angry. And that was the first indication of a good day. Because when Baby Cakes is angry, that means something good happened. Good morning. Due to the past 18 months of the CEO of IVCS, she can't even say me, right? Like she has to make it like it's a third person that's like really important with a title. Due to the past 18 months of the CEO of IVCS being bashed by a local newspaper, Valley Patriot, we have lost all of our private donations and continue after 6 years of great service for 300 plus veterans in the area. We now have to close our doors September 1st, 2025. We want to send our thank yous to everyone who has been there throughout it, all of us, and to all of our veterans' families. We say thank you for your service. Wow,
what a lady!
You know,
that's actually a nice note.
You would think that, like, when you read that, you go, "Wow, she really cares about the veterans." And you know, it's too bad that asshole that owns whatever that Valley Patriot paper is was just bashing her for no reason at all. Like, just for no reason, they just out of the blue just went, you know what? She cut me off at Dunkin' Donuts one day, and I'm just going to go after her now, and I'm going to ruin her life. And she left out a few things. So let me talk about some of the things that she left out.
By the way, the screenshot that you posted, it shows you who sent it to you.
Uh-oh.
At the top.
Does it really?
Top right. It's all right. Who cares?
Oh, I can't even see who that is.
I know who it is. Anyways.
Is it you?
No, it wasn't me.
It doesn't have the name.
My Facebook is black and white, whatever, dark.
I mean, you can see the symbol, but it doesn't say the name, right?
No, it's all right.
Okay.
Tell him to change his picture.
I didn't remember who did send that to me this morning.
Isn't it Kevin?
Huh?
Kevin Jordan.
Is that Kevin?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think he cares, so.
I don't
if it was anybody else, I'd worry, but I don't think Kevin cares.
I know he doesn't.
So here's a few things that she left out. You know, she wants to paint herself as a victim because, like all narcissists, they never take accountability, they never take responsibility for it. You know, I'm gonna do it without even reading what I write. I can do it off the top of my head because I've been dealing with this shit for the last 2.5 years. So she talks about how IVCS is closing and it's going to be so horrible for the veterans. It's not going to be so horrible for the veterans because you have Clear Path for Veterans New England out there that just opened offices in Lawrence and Methuen. You have other nonprofits that are run by veterans for veterans that don't steal money. Randy Carter at Bridge Club in Lowell, Jason Gilbert at the Clear Path, and Unitza Mendez at Clear Path are not going to charge cash to veterans to fill out their benefit papers like Kelly did. Okay, Kelly. This all started. I'll tell you exactly where it started. I'm going to talk about my hospital stay in a minute. But I went into the hospital. I was in the hospital for a few months, more than a few months. I went into the hospital. I got rushed in 2 years ago today, August 28th. And by the time I was home full time, it was December 19th.
My birthday.
Is that really your birthday?
Yeah, it is.
That was my life day when they called in and told me I was cancer free.
Aww.
So after that, before that had happened, I had written a front page story about a woman named Lynette Perez, who works for the city, who did the exact same thing Kelly did. And I went into the hospital. I was in the hospital for a long time. When I came out of the hospital, by January of 24, I was getting phone calls from people saying, hey, I'm glad you're back to work. I know you're not 100%, but are you ever going to pick up the other half of that story that you started when you got sick? And I went, what story? They went, the story about the two people who worked for the city of Lawrence that were trying to get grant money that were illegally trying to get grant money. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was the other one was, one was Lynette. Who was the other one was Kelly Frazier, right? And they were like, yeah. Now, at that point, Kelly and Debo and I were not at war. Mm-hmm. We had we've never really liked each other, but we've always gotten along. We've worked on homeless people and homeless issues together. Debo did a roast at my bash 2 years earlier. Kelly and I were kind of working together because she was working for Brian, so I'd see her in Brian's office once in a while. I never really liked her, but I didn't dislike her enough to like cause trouble with her. We saw each. It's like it was one of those things where we just kind of mutually agreed we don't really like each other, but we'll put that aside and we have to work together because that's what grown-ups do. But I had this story, and so I started making phone calls.
And it's your job to report on it.
It's my fucking job. No matter what anybody says, it's my job, friend or foe. Mm-hmm. So we found out that what Kelly did was, as the homeless coordinator, she applied for a $200,000 grant for housing for homeless veterans through ARPA, which is the American Rescue Plan. Mm. That was all the COVID money that was issued by the government that was never spent. People who didn't get their PPP loans for whatever reason, all that money left over, Joe Biden packaged it up and called it the American Rescue Plan and gave it to cities and towns across America for nonprofits to help the community. So Kelly, who was the homeless coordinator for the city, basically applied to herself for a $200,000 grant for her own nonprofit. Her office signed off on it. The mayor signed off on it. The mayor, I'm going to say it again. Manny, are you paying attention? The mayor signed off on it.
Something to attack
If he didn't have Kelly and Debo kissing his ass holding signs, Manny could actually use this as an issue if he wanted to. Yeah. But he can't because they neutralized him. They figured Brian's going to attack us, so now we'll hang out with Manny. Manny won't be able to use it against Brian, which means we won't be in the news anymore, right?
Yeah. They're not going to tell him.
But what I'm saying is we know why they're helping Manny. It's not to help Manny.
No, but I'm saying that Kelly and Debo are not going to go and tell Manny about, he signed on it because it was them.
Right.
Them. Yeah.
So the mayor signed off on it and went to the city council. It was passed by the city council. But because it's federal money, there's a law that says city councils that disperse federal money have to vote on it twice at two separate meetings. And this is a great reason why. Because you get a package of applicants that all get voted on as a block. And then it gives the councilors 2 weeks to go through the application to kind of look at them and see, like, maybe somebody's getting money they shouldn't be getting. Maybe there's a conflict of interest somewhere. And what they found was there was the other person who I reported on the front page of the paper before I got sick, and Octavian Spanner on July 18th, 2023, got up in front of the city council and said, we have to pull 2 names off this list because it's a conflict of interest. And one of them was Kelly Frazier, because she's a homeless coordinator for the city of Lawrence. He said that when he found out the mayor had signed off on it, he went back to the mayor and said, I think this is a conflict of interest. The mayor said, have Kelly talk to the city attorney, call the ethics department for the state. If the ethics commission for the state signs off and says it's not a conflict of interest, we'll give her the grant. She went to the ethics commission. She claims the ethics commission gave her permission, but if that was, and she lost the letter. But if that was the case, anybody could call the ethics commission and say, "Can we get a copy of that letter?" Like, they don't just send you a letter and don't make a record of it. Of course, they're
going to charge you $11,000.
Right. They're the state. So, long story short, I wrote the story that Kelly tried to get $200,000 for her own nonprofit. By the way, at the expense of other nonprofits that applied for that money, who were not working in City Hall, who were not having lunch with the mayor every day, who were not in the mayor's office, who were not rubbing shoulders with city councils at city council meetings every other week. And there were other nonprofits that probably should have deserved that money more than Baby Cakes Kelly Frazier. But I was just writing a story because that's my job. I wrote the story. It was all done in February. I posted on Facebook. Coming tomorrow. We caught the homeless coordinator for the city of Lawrence trying to steer $200,000 to her own nonprofit, which is illegal, right? It's illegal because the ethics commission didn't say it's not a conflict of interest.
And you're a paper. That's what you do. That's what you do. Right. That's your job.
So now if Baby Cakes had done what Lynette Perez did when I put her on the front page of the paper for doing the exact same thing. She was the domestic violence coordinator for the city of Lawrence, and she pretended she had a nonprofit for domestic violence victims that didn't even exist, which she applied for. So, okay, fine, right? When I wrote that front page story, you know what Lynette Perez did? Nothing. She didn't say a fucking word. She didn't go on Facebook and deny it. She didn't attack the person who wrote the story. She didn't go to city council meetings and tell every person she could what an evil person Tommy Duggan has read. You know what she did? She took her lumps. She knew she was wrong. She shut the fuck up, and the story went away. Nobody today is talking about that. If you ask 100 people in Lawrence, you think Lynette Perez has ever been involved in a scandal? 100% of them are going to say no, because they're not going to remember, because she shut the fuck up.
She admitted she was wrong.
And if Kelly had shut the fuck up.
She can never admit she's wrong.
If she had shut up, let me do the story, she'd still have her nonprofit. She'd still have her hair salon on Essex Street. She would still be the homeless coordinator in the city of Lawrence. She'd still be married, and she wouldn't be selling her house. But instead of shutting the fuck up, Kelly Frazier decided to file a stalking order against me, claiming that I threatened her life. And she couldn't have threatened her life because she went back 6 months earlier and found a Facebook post where I had said to a guy named Hannah, who I thought was my friend but sold me out real quick, on Facebook, where he said, I like both you guys. I wish you'd hug it out. And I said, well, let me put it this way. I'm like Israel. And Debo and Kelly, Debo was like, it wasn't even Kelly, I mentioned Debo. Debo's like the Palestinians. The Palestinians shoot rockets at Israel every day, and then eventually they say, we've had enough of your shit. They start lining tanks on the border. And then the minute they start getting ready to roll in, Palestinians go, oh, we're sorry, we want a ceasefire. We want to work with you. Well, Debo has shaken my hand and apologized to me no less than half a dozen times after saying some really scummy, inaccurate, and dishonest things about me. And then when he sees that I'm ready to come back after him, all of a sudden he's knocking on my door and saying, hey, can we work this out? Because he knows what's coming. Because he knows I have nuclear weapons, and I do have nuclear weapons, as they have all found out. So that was my only point on Facebook, was that
you say it like so innocently, like you're like, oh yeah, I get back to you and I have nuclear weapons. You have nuclear weapons. You just don't say it. Like, you do have them. I mean, you mentioned that 2 years ago. If she's just
Just shut up.
Just shut up.
Shut the F up. Just shut the F up.
But she went a little too far. Right, so the ego got to her.
Right. So she went and she filed a stalking order, a restraining order against me. And the very first thing checked on the restraining order was that I was not allowed to publish anything about the victim. Okay? Because I said I was Israel and her husband was the Palestinians.
Gaza.
Right. Gaza. She was in fear of her life because I said Gaza. So the short of this is the judge... she put it off. The judge eventually said that she could not use this stalking order to stop me from writing about her. Because we made our case in court that this is a First Amendment issue. She's not my ex-girlfriend. I didn't threaten her life. She's not like a family member or a household member. This is what it is. So the judge split the baby down the middle, and he said, you're allowed to publish about her, but I'm going to let the case go forward. She thinks that she was threatened. You can write the story, but you're still going to stay away from her. Okay, fine. So we go to court. The only time I'd ever lost a hearing, we lost one hearing. In 58 years on the planet, I've lost 2 hearings. That was one of them. So we appealed it. We went to the New Hampshire Supreme Court, and we won. In the ensuing process, while all this was going on, we learned all kinds of things about Kelly Frazier. We learned that she has not filled out or submitted her financial 990s, which are financial papers that all nonprofits have to fill out and send to the state and the IRS. She goes on Facebook and she says, this is just to show you what a grifter she is, because everything's a lie, Sharon Marie, who consistently defends her and refuses to see what's in front of her face. Kelly goes on Facebook and she says, I promise I'll make this real quick. I know you're looking at time. She says, the law says we only have to file our financial 990s if we take in more than $50,000 in donations, and we don't. So there, Tom Duggan's wrong. So I went, well, that's kind of odd. So I went and I found her application.
If she just shut up.
Right? If she had shut up, people would have forgotten that I said that, and it would have been over the next day. But she can't let anything go. Her and Debo were made for each other. Neither one of them, they can't let anything go. If you say that she got 13 donuts, you'll go, no, I had 12 and a half because somebody came and ate half a donut. Like, she has to put that she has to be right about everything. She has to. So I went and I found her application when she filed for the $200,000 in City Hall. And on that application, I believe on page 4 or page 8, it said, have you applied for or received any other funding for this particular project that you're trying to work on? And she wrote, yes, she got a $52,000 grant from the state of Massachusetts for this exact project she was applying for the $200,000 for, which 50, I know I only went to Lawrence High, but let's count on our fingers. 52, that's more than 50.
Yep.
So she admits in writing that she accepted $52,000 from the state, but claimed on Facebook that she didn't make more than 50, so she doesn't have to file her financial 990. So now we have proof that she broke the law, that her nonprofit was in violation of the law. She didn't file her financial 990s. She did with the state or with the federal government. Then we find out she's at Christmas time last year, someone donated 900 lobsters for the veterans. And there she is doing Facebook selfies, handing lobsters to people who aren't veterans.
In her house, too, eating them with people.
There's Debo with, I think, an off-duty cop, believe it or not, in his house cooking up like 10 lobsters on the thing. And they're like, gee, I guess they gave away all the lobsters, went out and bought their own lobsters? I don't think so. There was... She filed false police reports. She perjured herself in court. She had me arrested for violating the stalking order the weekend before we were supposed to have our original hearing, so that I would lose that hearing, which is why we lost that hearing. I had to go to criminal trial. I spent $50,000 on lawyers, and the jury found me not guilty in 50. She perjured herself more than 3 times on the stand, and we proved it. We proved it inconclusively that she lied. Gaza. She's been a grifter, and Debo's been a grifter. And through the whole time, they're posting things on Facebook. It's Sharon Birchall, her mom, running for city council in Methuen, posted on Facebook. He's a pedophile. He's a sexual predator. And they took his guns, in all caps. He has no guns. Trying to get people to physically come after me. Okay? Well, how did that work out for Debo and Kelly? 2 years ago, she had a hair salon. She was the homeless coordinator for the city of Lawrence. Her husband, Debo Brown, Donald Frazier, a.k.a. Donald Frazier, the insurance fraudster, convicted of insurance fraud, was working for DPW. He was a laborer in the DPW, and Brian was actually in the process of trying to promote him at DPW. And they also had the nonprofit. Not to mention all the other little side projects she had going on.
Bling mails.
Yeah, all the blings and all that other shit. What does she have to have today? None of it. She has none of it. She has none of it, and I tried to warn her when she came after me, if this is the hill you want to die on, this will be the hill that you die on. Because I'm going to spend every waking moment of the rest of my life, however short or long that is, I'm going to make sure that you are held accountable for what you have done, not just to me, but to the city of Lawrence. Do you know that one of her last acts as the homeless coordinator for the city of Lawrence, she had spent 2.5 years driving around, going around the community, getting the homeless to trust her, getting their social security numbers, their locations, their dates of birth, where they were originally from, where their tents were, where the tents previously were. And then on her way out the door, gave all that information to the police department so they could go in and they could bulldoze tents, arrest people that had warrants that were on her list that she gave them. That was her last act, as one of her last acts as the homeless coordinator for the city of Lawrence. And then she resigned blaming me, saying because I was harassing her. And the mayor wouldn't defend her like it's the mayor's job to defend her, right? Like Debo always did. That somehow it was the city of Lawrence's fault, and then she was going to try and sue the city, but couldn't find a lawyer because you can't sue the city for stupid shit like that. Dumb people think you can sue the city over anything. Dumb people think they can sue you for anything. And then they try and find a lawyer to represent them, and they find out real quick that lawyers will not take the case unless they think you can win, unless you have a case. You don't have a case, you can't win. You know who has a case? I've got a case. I've got a case because they call me a pedophile on Facebook. I've got a case because they call me a sexual predator on Facebook. And in the same post announced in caps, he has no guns, they took his guns. Okay? I have a case because I went to the New Hampshire Supreme Court and won. When she was the one saying that I was a predator and I was stalking her, the New Hampshire Supreme Court said Tom Duggan did not stalk her. This does not fit the legal definition of stalking. This has nothing to do with stalking, and they threw it out. I have a case because a jury found me not guilty in a 3-day trial where she had me arrested for violating the stalking order. So she announces today that IVCS is gone. And you know what? IVCS is gone because she's a grifter. She's a fraud. She always has been. So is Debo. And it's going away because she can't get grants anymore. Because whenever she goes to the American Legion or the VFW or some veterans group and pretends she cares about veterans, they Google her name. And you know what comes up? Things that wouldn't come up if she had shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Right? All the stories about her false police reports.
Give yourself some credit. Don't just say they Google her. People know who you are.
True.
These clubs and these organizations, they all know who you are.
Because we care. Because we actually do care about the veterans.
Yeah, and they do follow the things that you say and you do. So give yourself some credit. It's not Google.
Well, I'm just saying they Google her and they find all these stories about her. And who wants to do business with someone who's like that? Like who wants to give a $10,000 grant to that nonprofit that's being run by somebody who has filed false police reports, isn't filing their 990 financials, giving away lobsters that were donated to veterans, to non-veterans, et cetera, et cetera. Leach Fickenworth loading up groceries at her food pantry, and on and on and on and on, owing tens of thousands of dollars to her landlord for her beauty and bling, on and on and on and on, right? Who wants to be in bed? It's the wrong phrase, not in bed. Who wants to at least be in business with someone like that? If you have a $10,000 grant, would you rather give your money to International Veterans Care Services that services Lawrence and Methuen, or Clear Path for Veterans New England, or Veterans Northeast Outreach, or a number of other veteran organizations?
Bridge Club.
Yeah, the Bridge Club of Lowell. Other organizations that are helping veterans, being run by veterans, that actually have like a good reputation, that are actually doing good things, that are not running around the community. They actually posted on my Facebook one day that shame on Diana DeZoglio. Remember this during the bash?
Yeah.
They put a picture of me and Diana. Shame on State Auditor Diana DeZoglio for covering up Tom Duggan's illegalities because he's running an illegal business and she refuses to audit him. Like, they were so dumb. Either they were dumb or they know that their audience that follows them is so dumb
is the audience.
that they're not going to know that the state auditor doesn't audit private businesses.
They're smart. They're just too emotional.
Right. So the state auditor doesn't audit private businesses. The state auditor audits
state.
Right. So public entities. City of Lawrence, Department of Education, all that stuff. So rest in peace, IVCS. Rest in peace, Beauty and Bling.
A long way without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
It comes on a good day because we're gonna leave with this.
Yes.
This is the 2-year anniversary of the day that I died. One of the 2 days that I died. The story's online. I just want to talk a little bit about it because it obviously has changed my life. It's changed the way I've looked at things. It changed the way I do things. It's really kind of changed just about everything about me. Just kind of like when my father was murdered when I was younger, that also changed the trajectory of my life. 2 years ago today, my friend Nancy, it's funny. It's funny how little things end up making such a big difference. So Nancy knows that I hate talking on the phone. So she never calls me.
Okay.
If she has something to say, she'll text me. If she needs to call me, she'll text say, hey, can I call you for 5 minutes? Because she knows I hate talking on the phone. Because I'm on the phone all day, right? That's my job. I'm on the phone all day. When I'm not, like, doing work, I don't want to be on the phone chatting with people. My mom hates it because she likes to talk to me on the phone, and I hate talking on the phone. So 2 years ago today, she texted me, and I didn't answer, so she called me. And normally if she calls me, if I'm in line at the bank, I'll step out and take her call because she knows I don't like to take phone calls, so if she's calling, it's important. So she called me and I didn't answer. She got nervous. She called me a couple more times. I didn't answer. She came to the office. She found me slumped over my desk. She's all of like 80 pounds soaking wet. Carried me down a flight of stairs, put me in her car, got me to Lawrence General, and as they were bringing me in, I flatlined. I ended up they brought me back. I ended up in a coma for 10 and a half days, almost 11 days. I flatlined a second time. People think that when you're in a coma, you really kind of have no brain activity, that you don't really understand what's going on around you. That is not true. At least it was not for me.
That's scary.
Because I was in a drug-induced coma. Because my lungs were septic. What had happened was I was on an experimental medication. I have a joint condition. And I was on an experimental medication called Simponi. And it had depleted my immune system over the 8 months that I was taking it. And it was a wonder drug because I was paralyzed before I took it. After taking it, I could actually walk. I could go to the post office. I could go down to my car and go places. And I was touting it on Facebook as a wonder drug. And what I didn't know is that it had, over the 8 months I was taking it, it had depleted my immune system so much that everything that I came in contact with, like you come in contact with colds and flus every day, but your body fights it off and you don't until your body can't fight off, then you catch the flu, right? But most of the time, you come in contact with viruses and stuff every day that your body fights off that you don't even know you had. My body was not fighting anything off. My body had everything going on in it. And 2 days before this had happened, I got the phone call from my daughter, surprisingly, that my friend Alex Talcott had been murdered. And I was investigating I was very distraught over it. I was very close to Alex. He'd been on this show a number of times. I went to my parents' house at the lake that Sunday, the 27th, and my mom kept saying, "You got to get to the hospital. You don't look good." And I said, "Listen, my body's just physically reacting to how upset I am about Alex getting murdered yesterday. I can't effing believe it." And the stories that were in the Manchester Union Leader were very contradictory. The first one said that there were 2 assailants, and then the next one said that there were multiple assailants, and then all of a sudden the number of assailants dropped out of all the stories that came out after that. And so there was this evolving story of he came home early, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, but he wasn't supposed to be home till the next day, but he caught an early flight, and he came home, and there were people in his house, and he ended up getting stabbed in the neck with a pen. That's how he died. My friend Alex died because he was stabbed in the neck with a pen. So I was really probably more distraught than I probably should have been. I was more distraught than I'd been in a long time. But my mom saw it and Uncle Frankie saw it, and they were like, "Listen, you got to get to like urgent care. You don't look good at all." I was sweating. I was not talking right. I was confused. I was saying things that had nothing to do with the conversation that was going on. And I said, "Listen, I'll be fine." I got in my car. I drove home. I got into 2 accidents on my way home. I learned this afterwards. After I came out of the hospital, I found out all this. I got into 2 different accidents on my way home. I made it home somehow, went to bed. The next day, Nancy finds me slumped over my desk, brings me to the hospital. I flatline. And while I'm in the hospital, when you're in a drug-induced coma, every so many hours they have to wake you up a little bit so that you can wiggle your toes, just enough to accept the command to wiggle your toes, because the drugs that they put you on to put you into a coma are paralytics. And if you're on it too long and they give you too much of a dose, you could be paralyzed the rest of your life. You could be a paraplegic. So every so many hours, I thought it was 2, but it might have been 4, they'd wake me up, and I would not know anything that had happened, and all I would hear is, "Tom, wiggle your toes," and I would, and then they would put me back down, and that was it. But in between the time that I actually was fully out, and I heard them say, "Wiggle your toes," and I did wiggle my toes, and then they put me back down, which was only minutes, right? I could hear the conversations going on around me. I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't hear it. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't taste anything. I couldn't smell anything. But I heard voices, and I didn't recognize who they were. I heard my mom say to somebody, "Is he going to make it?" And I promised I wasn't going to do this. So I heard my mom, but I didn't know it was my mom. I didn't know that it was her. I recognized the voice, but I didn't know that it was my mom. Say, "Is he going to make it?" And I heard someone say, "I don't think so. If you've got a priest to call, you'd better call him." And I thought, man, whoever that guy is, he's fucked. And then someone said my name, and I realized they were talking about me. And I heard somebody say, "Well, what do we do with his clothes? Like, what do we do with his things? If he passes away, like, what are we going to do?" And I heard somebody say, "Well, we give his clothes to TMF. He cared about the homeless." And they were planning my funeral. I could hear my family planning my funeral. And then I went back down. And on the 11th day, I woke up on the 11th day, I started to wake up. On the 10th day, I started to wake up. And I looked down, and my parents were there with Nancy. I did not know who my parents were. I knew them. I didn't know who they were. But I did recognize Nancy right away. And she was holding my hand. I could feel her holding my hand. It was the first thing I could actually feel since all this had happened. Now, I didn't know what had happened. I have no memory of what happened on Monday, that day. I have no memory of being brought into the hospital. I have no memory of flatlining. I have no memory of any of that. But I looked down and I saw Nancy, and she said, "You're getting better every day." Nancy, always positive, right? No matter what's going on. "You're getting better every day, Tom. You're getting better every day. You have to keep fighting. You're doing better." And I thought, she's fucking lying to me. I just heard them say to call a priest. Because to me, that had happened seconds ago, not 5 days, 6 days, 7 days ago. I had no idea how long I had been there. And so I started squeezing her hand. When she tells the story, I thought he was going to break my hand. And he's shaking his head no. And I knew that something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. And she said she went home crying. She went home upset because she thought I was getting better and she was getting encouraged, and all of a sudden she saw me acting this way and she knew something was wrong. What she didn't know was, in my head, I had no idea what was happening. No clue. And the reason I'm talking about this today, it's a 2-year anniversary. It's very emotional for me. It's also it's a celebration of life, because I died twice, and when I finally came to, I finally woke up. I was on a ventilator for 2 more days, so I couldn't talk. I couldn't ask what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know I was in Lawrence General. I didn't know I was in a hospital. In my head, I was thinking I was in a mental institution. I thought maybe, I remembered getting into an accident, and I thought maybe I hurt somebody in an accident and they had me committed. Maybe something happened.
Manslaughter.
And I didn't know. So my brain's trying to fill in the information that you don't know. And it was 2 or 3 more days. And when they finally told me, when I finally came out of all of that, and they finally told me what was going on, I had no idea that at that point now 14 days, 15 days had gone by. And 2 more days in ICU, I go into a regular room, and Nancy comes in, and she's all excited, and I felt so bad that, like, she came in such a positive mood every day, trying to be positive, and I was not in a position to foster that, right? Like, I didn't know what was going on. I still, at that point, didn't know what was going on. And she finally said to me, she said something, and I'll never forget this. She said, you know, you and Neil Perry don't get along very well. He was the mayor of Methuen at the time. We were at war. And she said, you know, you and Neil Perry don't get along very well, but I want you to know something. He came over to me at the feast a couple of days ago, and he said he heard that you were sick. Word hadn't really gotten out what had happened, but word was that I was sick. And she said, and he wants you to know that you guys can go back to hating each other later, but he's saying a prayer for you. Because when he got sick, even though you guys were at war, you were the first one to reach out to his friends and family and say, hey, how's Neil doing? Whatever he needs, let us know, and I'm happy to help. And I looked at her and I thought again, she's fucking lying to me. She's lying to me. And I said out loud, why are you making stuff up? She said, no, I swear to God, he actually said that. I go, Nancy, the feast is in 3 weeks. And she said, no, Tom, the feast was last weekend. Goosebumps. That's when I realized, how long have I been here? And that's when I started asking, why am I here? Like, for that whole time, I wasn't even conscious of the idea of why am I here to try and get the information. I was just trying to figure out everything that was going on. I had no friggin' clue what was happening. I spent a good 3 or 4 weeks at Lawrence General. Then they discharged me to Hannah Dustin Rehab. And they told me the day before they discharged me that I would probably never walk again. I would never write my name again. I would never be able to tie my shoes again. I was probably never going to drive a car again, and I would probably never live independently again. They were talking about maybe like a nursing home or an assisted living facility, and there was a lot of conversations going on about all of that. And as they were discharging me, and I'm thinking, okay, but you know what? I'm a tough bastard. So I'm going to prove them all wrong. I'm going to learn how to walk again. I'm going to do this. And so as I'm getting ready to get discharged from Lawrence General to go to Hannah Dustin Rehab, doctor comes in, and I'm on the phone. I'm yelling at Xfinity because they turned off my cable while I was in the hospital. And I saw him, and I thought he was looking for the guy in the next bed because his badge said oncology. And I said, you're looking for Frank. He'll be back in a few minutes. He's with his daughter. And he said, I'm looking for a Tom Duggan. Well, I know what oncology is. I used to watch St. Elsewhere. I used to watch the show called St. Elsewhere about a hospital. Oncology is cancer. So I hung the phone up and I said, what are you looking for me for? He said, well, we got some bad news. We know you're going home, but you probably should not have been discharged because they didn't check it with us first. When you came in, there was no sign of any cancer at all. But now, since we've done the last 2 MRIs, we found cancer in your upper right lobe, and it's pretty big. And so since we're discharging you to Hannah Dustin, the minute you get out of Hannah Dustin, we're going to send you over to Dana-Farber, and we're going to start radiation right away, radical radiation right away. And through all of this, I just kept thinking, well, first of all, I had this song in my head that was very inspiring. It was by the guys that we had Prospect Hill rescued. And I had it in my head. It was very inspiring because I kept thinking, you know what? No matter what happens, doctors have been wrong. The doctors told my grandmother when she got diagnosed with lupus that she'd be dead within 6 months. She lived 8 years. She lived 8 years after being told she would live 6 months. So doctors are wrong. I'm going to prove them wrong. And I was ready to prove them wrong that I was going to learn how to walk again. I was going to learn how to tie my shoes again. I was going to go home. I was going to go back to a normal life. And then they hit me with the cancer diagnosis. Flawed. Here I am. I made all this progress. Trying to learn how to walk, trying to do everything that I could to fight and live, just to live. And now after all this, they're telling me I'm not going to make it anyway? Like seriously? You're hitting me with this? And if you thought it was hard for me to hear, you should have seen my family. They had just been through so much. So I love my family. Just something I could wipe with. I love my family so much because, and one of the reasons I want to talk about this today is there's a lot of people out there. My friend Chucky Self is going through this right now. There's a lot of people out there who don't have a podcast, that don't have a newspaper, that don't have a vehicle to express themselves, to talk to people, to air their feelings, and feel like they have no hope. And I can tell you this, that I went into Hannah Dustin, and I was there for, I think, 2 weeks. And on day 4 or 5, I took my first step. And even though I knew that I had a cancer diagnosis, I didn't stop. I thought, if I'm going to die of cancer, I'm going to die walking. If I'm going to die of cancer, I'm going to die being able to tie my shoes. So I fought, and that's what I did. I fought. It's all I knew how to do. It's all I've done my whole life is fight, and so I fought. I got out of Hannah Dustin, and I was walking. I wasn't walking well. I was barely walking, but I was walking. And while I was in Hannah Dustin, I made Nancy, and by the way, thank you to Joe Solomon, who was by my side every single day, and Nancy and my family. I asked them to bring in my laptop. So it was probably, at this point, I'm in Hannah Dustin, so it's probably around September 23rd or 4th. Right, so I went into the hospital August 28th. It's now September 23rd or 24th. I started at Hannah Dustin. And I said, you're going to bring me my laptop because I might not be able to write my name, but I might be able to type. So I really couldn't type. And by the way, a lot of my typing still has not come back, which is why when you see Facebook, you see a lot of typos. You always see it, like, I'll post something and then I'll go back and I'll have to keep changing it and changing it because I type it and my typing still isn't that great. But I was typing with my fingers, and the nurses and the occupational therapists and the physical therapists and the speech therapists, all the therapists at Hannah Dustin would come in when I was working on the paper, and I said, I'm going to produce a September 2023 paper if it kills me. If the cancer doesn't kill me and the coma didn't kill me, this is probably going to kill me, but I'm going to do it because I have advertisers, I have a newspaper, and I'm going to get it done because my readers deserve to have a paper, and my advertisers are paying for a paper. So I sat there with my fingers, and the nurses helped me, and we produced in the hospital in Hannah Dustin the September 2023 Valley Patriot. Probably one of the proudest things in my life that I was able to do because I couldn't do anything else. Like, I literally was sitting in a rehab trying to learn how to walk, trying to learn how to, I would say things backwards like, the food in this hotel is really great. And Nancy would say, you mean hospital? And I said hospital. Because even though my mouth said it wrong, my brain heard it right because my brain knew what I was trying to say, and there was a total disconnect. And so I was struggling with all of that. Well, I went to Dana-Farber when I got out of Hannah Dustin. Nancy came with me almost every single appointment that we had. I ended up going into Beth Israel in Boston, Brigham and Women's in Boston. My sister Kiana, I love you, Kiana, called me every step of the way and said, now my sister Kiana is a born again. She's a pastor in her church. Very religious. She's been through a really rough time in her life, and she has become a very religious person. I admire her greatly. Called me and said, God has other plans for you. God saved you for a reason. God's not going to let you die of this cancer. You're going to be fine. I'm praying that the cancer goes away. And, you hear that. You're going to pray the cancer away. Yeah, sure. Radiation and chemotherapy is not going to make it go away, but you're going to pray away my cancer. Well, we did the biopsy at Holy Family. They said they confirmed that it was cancer. Went back to Lawrence General, did another biopsy. They confirmed for the third time that it was cancer. Went to Dana-Farber. They started me on the paperwork to get the chemo and the radiation. And long story short, I went in for a pre-op visit with Dr. Isn't that terrible? I really knew his name up until 5 seconds ago. With a doctor, and he was from Iraq at at Brigham and Women, and he did an MRI, and he came back in and he said, I'm looking at all of your biopsies and something doesn't seem right. Can I send you in for a bronchoscopy? Can you come back in 10 days? And I was like, really? Whatever you got to give me the chemo. I don't care if it makes me throw up. I don't care what it does. Get rid of it. Like now we're in like mid-November, right? I started in August, the end of November. I went in. They had a problem with me on the operating table because of all the issues, so they closed me up, sent me home. I went in the first or second week of December. They did a full bronchoscopy. Now, bronchoscopy, they put a tube down your throat, and they put a robot into the tube to go into your lung to take a piece of the whatever it is that they're looking at, the tissue, and then it goes into your thyroid, because if you have lung cancer, the first place it migrates to is your thyroid. Oh, really? So they want to measure both. So it was a 5-hour operation. He woke me up afterwards, and he said, I think we have good news, but I can't really say for sure. We're going to send it to 4 different labs, so there's no doubt what we find is going to be what we find. And on December 19th, they called and said, there's no cancer there. Aww. No radiation, no chemotherapy. It was gone. My sister called me. Didn't even know that I had gotten the phone call from the doctor. And she said, it's funny, I had a dream about you last night, that your cancer was gone. Right? There's a lot of people.
That is real.
There's a lot of people out there right now, while we're going about our daily lives, while we're getting our Slurpee, while we're getting our Dunkin' Donuts, while we're fighting with our colleagues and getting mad that someone spilled something on us. We think we're having the worst day in the world because some guy cut us off in traffic. There's a lot of people out there that are going through what I went through or worse. Their life is upside down right now. They don't know where to turn. They don't have any faith at all. I want you all to know, I had everything going against me. The doctors told my family that that 42% of the people that come into the hospital with the condition that I had at Lawrence General go home. And most of those who go home, they're never the same. They're never right. I beat the odds on cancer. I beat the odds with the coma. I beat the odds flatlining twice, and them bringing me back, which is not an easy. You see it on TV shows. They go clear, and they do the thing. They think they make it look easy. There's nothing easy about that.
It takes time.
And when the person comes back, a lot of times they're not who they were. And so I went through a lot of that, and I didn't want to make this so much about me and making it emotional and being drama. I'm looking at Chucky South, who's a guy that I've known for a long time that's going through this exact thing right now, only for different kind of ailments. And it made me think today that it's the 2-year anniversary of the day that I died. I have 2 years that I never would have had if I hadn't beat the odds. But I beat the odds.
You did.
I beat the odds. And I didn't just beat the odds once. I beat the odds when I flatlined the first time. I beat the odds when I flatlined the second time. I beat the odds when I came out of the coma. I beat the odds when they said I'd never walk again, and did. I beat the odds when they said I'd never be able to write my name or tie my shoes again, and I did. I beat the odds when they said I'd never be able to drive a car, and I did. I beat the odds when they told me I had cancer. I beat the odds every single step of the way. Now, am I back to normal? Not even close. It's been 2 years. I still have a hard time walking. There are still days I still can't get out of bed. I do everything humanly possible to work on my laptop from bed if I have to. I do everything humanly possible to go to the post office if I have to. What do you think you have that willpower? I don't know. I think God, it's hard to say God gives you a hardship like having your father murdered for a reason like that. But having gone through the murder of my father, and he wasn't just murdered, he was beaten with a baseball bat in the afternoon, and then the people who did it bragged about it, were arrested, confessed, went to trial, had the confession thrown out, and were found not guilty on a technicality. At 23 years old, that's a pretty tough thing to go through. And for the rest of your life, that's a pretty tough thing to deal with. Like even today, I'm 58 and I still have a hard time with it. But I think that it gave me the armor that I needed to get through what I got through. And there's a lot of people out there that might not have that armor. Maybe there's a lot of people out there that haven't had that kind of a hardship to make them hard enough. I'm here to tell you, you can do it. But you have to want it. You have to want to get better. You have to be determined that the doctors are going to be wrong. You have to be determined that you can do it. Because if you succumb to that, even a little bit, if you start to doubt even a little bit, you're done. And I can tell you that there were many times when I got home from the hospital, and I know we're way over, but when I got home from the hospital and I got home from rehab and I was waiting for the cancer stuff and the cancer diagnosis I was diagnosed, but I was waiting for what they're going to do. It's going to be chemo, it's going to be radiation. I'm going to Dana-Farber every day. They're doing tests. And in between, I got very low about all of it. I was almost convinced that I went through all this for nothing. I'm going to freaking die anyway. And I almost had resigned myself to the fact that
that's the easiest way to go. Though.
Yeah,
that's always the easiest
very
way.
easy. Let me tell you, you're right.
Let it take over you.
You think that's the hard way, but it's not. And a couple of times I almost resigned myself to that fact. And then I thought about my mom sitting next to me for 11 days, and Nancy and Joe Solomon sitting next to me for 11 days every day, praying for me. My sister Kiana telling me I was going to be okay. And I thought, if I let go and I die, if I give up, I'm leaving them. I'm disappointing them. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to disappoint them. I'm going to make it to Christmas, and I'm going to make it to next Christmas. And I know there's a lot of people who are not fortunate enough to live through that even when they are strong. But I can tell you, if you have a chance to make it through something like that, if you have a chance to make it through a cancer diagnosis, or if you have a chance to make it through some kind of a heart issue or any other kind of ailment, if there's a chance for you, you have to make it happen. You have to believe it, and you have to make it happen. I am so happy I met you. I'm
happy I met you,
too. It's 2 years that I never would have had. And every day when I wake up, I'll tell you one thing that's really changed my life recently is my CPAP machine. So as part of what happened to me in the hospital, I have a collapsed lung. My lower left lung is collapsed in. Just a little bit. It's like 3 inches, but it's collapsed in. And all the inhalers in the world haven't done any good. All the pulmonary stuff that they've done to me has done no good. But I had a hard time sleeping, so I got a CPAP machine. It has reignited the cells in the bottom left lower lobe, and I'm breathing 1,000 times better because of it. And every morning when I wake up and I take off that CPAP and I take a deep breath for the first time, it triggers the memory of when they pulled out the breathing tube, when they took me off the ventilator, because when the doctor, it was very traumatic. I'm laying there in the hospital. I've been in a coma for 11 days. I've been awake for 3 after that, but I was still on the breathing tube, and the doctor came in and he said, Tom, we're going to take you off the machine. And I thought, they're pulling the plugs. So I'm shaking my head. No, I can't talk, but I'm shaking, and I'm fighting. I'm not fighting well. I'm tied to a bed. There's not a lot of fight, but I'm fighting the whole. And I think he realized what he said, and he said, no. He got right close to my face. He leaned down. And he said, I'm going to pull out the breathing tube, and I want you to breathe out as hard as you can as I'm pulling it out. And if you can't get a deep breath in, don't panic. We'll put the tube back in, and we'll help you breathe. But I think you can come off the breathing tube today. And they debated about keeping me on the breathing tube 10 more days. And I just wanted it out. I wanted it out. I wanted to know what was going on. I didn't understand where I was. And I want to thank, by the way, all of the doctors. And I'm going to take 2 seconds to just thank them by name, because I actually have them here. I put it in.
While you're looking for the names, I want to say a couple of things that people have written
on
Facebook. We have Mark A. Rivera. I'm happy to see how God gives us the grace to defy the odds. May you live each day in such a way introduced others to the giver of peace and author of hope. Keep fighting. That's Mark Rivera.
That's nice, thank you.
And Lori D. Martin says, listening to your story right now, you have given me the fight to fight. I have Merkel cell carcinoma
I'm so sorry
right now, and I'm in and out of the Boston Dana fiber.
Wow.
We're really sorry about that.
Yep.
Stay strong.
You got to fight. Listen, you got to fight. If you have a chance, you might not. Listen, I didn't know if I was going to have a chance or not, but I was going to go out fighting. And I want to thank some of the doctors. The first ER doctor that I dealt with at Lawrence General Hospital, and again, I was in a coma. I didn't know. I have no idea, but I found out afterwards when I got my my discharge paper. Dr. Laura Barrett, PAC, and Michael Malik. Michael Malik was great. ICU doctors and pulmonologist, Dr. Patrick Scanlon, Dr. Vescopoulos, Dr. Gazwan Akash. Dr. Akash is the guy that pulled out the breathing tube. He had a lot of faith in me, and the other doctors were saying, maybe we should wait. And he had a lot of faith in me. It's
always good to have a tough doctor.
ICU intensivist, Dr. John Brady. Now, let me tell you, Dr. John Brady, when they first pulled out the breathing tube, he was actually on the floor, and he came in to see me. And he sat down, and I didn't know who he was. He's a very, very tall guy, like a basketball player. And he introduced himself as Dr. Brady, and he said, I got to tell you, Mr. Duggan, you beat the odds. We didn't think you were going to make it. We were actually kind of convinced you weren't going to make it. And do you know what happened? Do you know why it happened? And I had no idea. And he told me, but I didn't retain any of the information because my brain wasn't healed enough yet. So as he's telling me stuff, the information's going in one ear out. You know that expression, in one ear out the other? That was literally going on. By the time he finished his first sentence, I didn't realize what he'd said. It was just gone. So that was Dr.
You always win. You notice? You always win. All I do is win, no matter what. That's your song right there.
Dr. Polichelli, hospitalist Dr. Morgan Moncada, and really, Dr. Moncada, if he's out there listening somewhere, there's nobody I need to apologize to more than Dr. Moncada. The shit that I put that guy through, you have no idea. So they had me on this bed, right? And because of what I'd been through when I went into a regular room, there's an alarm on the bed. So if you try to get out of bed, the alarm goes off and everybody comes running because I can't walk, right? So I was so mad that every time I just moved my ass just to get comfortable, the alarm would go off. And it would set off, like the whole floor would hear it. And then other patients are yelling at me and that fucking Duggan guy again. And so when he came in to see me, I said, you know what, Doc, I'm signing myself out. He said, what do you mean you're signing yourself out? I said, I'm done. You got me tied to this bed. I can't even move my ass without an alarm going off. I can't get up and go to the bathroom by myself. I have these 17, 18-year-old girls coming in and sponge bathing me. It's the most humiliating thing in the world. I said, I'm signing myself out. Do I have the right to sign myself out? And he said, yes, legally you have the right to sign yourself out, but I don't advise it. I said, well, I want to sign myself out. So he was very distraught about it. He argued with me. He told me how wrong I was. And then he said, I'll tell you what, Mr. Duggan. If you can actually sign yourself out, I'll let you sign yourself out. So he went and he got a clipboard and a piece of paper and said, show me you can sign your name. And I couldn't.
You met your match.
I fucking met my match with this guy.
Well, at least he gave you the,
He did. And
he fought for you.
And then he said, I'll tell you what, if you don't humiliate me, I will turn off the alarm on your bed if that makes you happy and you will stay. But promise me you're not going to get out of bed and start trying to walk around because you're not going to be able to do it. You think you can because you're on a lot of drugs, you're not in pain, but trust me, you can't. 15 minutes after he left, I'm like, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go to the fucking bathroom. And
you fell.
I got up and I fell, and the nurses found me like 5 minutes later. Yep. And he got in trouble because he wasn't supposed to turn off. He wasn't supposed to turn off. What are you saying?
No, I said 2 hours.
We're 2? All right.
Yeah.
When? Dr. Zaman, respiratory ICU and respiratory at the Hamlet building. The nurses, all the nurses, and I'm not going to get all of them by name, but Marissa, Kristen, Letty, Jamie, Holly, Yoki, Shakira. There was a black girl named Shakira.
Are you naming only the redheads?
No. I got this list from Nancy because she kept a running list of all the nurses that worked on me. Cheryl in the Hamlet building, Anna, Maria, Ryan, Tommy Fauscher, who's a friend of mine that I grew up with. I didn't realize he worked in the hospital, but he came in and took care of me. Bailey, Jerry, and there's about two dozen other people. My friend Maria Ryan that I grew up with ended up being one of my nurses when I first came out of ICU and I was in very bad shape. And she came in, and seeing her made me cry like a baby. I was like, oh my God, like she's going to be like one of the last people in the world I see. I can't believe I know her. And I recognized her. And when I realized I recognized her, when I saw her and I recognized her and realized that I recognized her, that was when I said, something's right going back onto my brain again. I can fight this, and that helped. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank, obviously, my family. I want David Consoli, who filled in for me the entire time, who, by the way, I did not treat very well. Like, my brain was not right, and I lashed out at him a couple of times. He wanted to have Neil Perry on my show while I'm in the hospital, and I'm like, you want the guy that hates me the most coming on he won't come on my show when I'm here. You want him, and I got mad at him, and I shouldn't have, because it was actually a brilliant move to have him come on when I wasn't there. And I gave him a lot of shit. And Chrissy, my producer at Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, I know she cried a lot of nights for me. I know she called Nancy a lot and said, is he doing well? And Nancy would say, no, he's not. We don't think he's going to make it. And I know there's a lot of crying that went on. There's a lot of people, and those who I didn't name, there's a lot of people that were pulling for me. And, one of the things that happened that was really tough to deal with later on was somebody had posted on my Facebook page that they'd heard that I died. And so when I finally got my phone back, and I'm going to end with this, when I finally got my phone back, there were about 35 messages on my phone, voice messages, from people who thought I was dead, saying, Tom, buddy, I can't believe that you're gone. And you don't know me, but you helped me 10 years ago. I was homeless and whatever, and you helped me. And listening to voicemail after voicemail of people that I knew from grammar school, people that I worked with at American Training 30 years ago, people that I had known throughout my life, who were really kind of leaving messages more for my family to let them know how much I meant to them. That was huge. And it was very bizarre because you're listening to people talking about you while you're dead. Because in their mind, you are. And all of this has given me a very different perspective on life. And it's made me a very different person. It's made me much more grateful. And I want those of you out there who are dealing with this. And again, I didn't bring this up to make it about me, and I knew we have to go. But I want, and if you need to reach out to me and just have somebody that you need to just talk to, I hate talking on the phone. Texts are so much better, but I will take your call. If you feel like, if you're a Chucky self and you feel like you've got nobody else in your life, and you just need somebody to kind of bounce an idea off of or talk to, please give me a call. And I'm not going to say I'll be happy to take the call because I hate talking on the phone, but I will talk to you, and I'll help you if I can.
From me to you, I am so grateful and I'm thankful to have you in my life, to have met you, and for your guidance and everything you do for the community. You really are an asset.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm glad that people are getting to know you a little bit better, and they see that you're not a racist, or you're not, whatever it is that they say you are.
I'm okay with them thinking I'm a racist.
My kids and I know you do. My kids and I are very grateful and thankful for you and everything that you do and what you know.
I know Alejandro likes his truck.
He does like his truck. He sleeps with his truck.
He sleeps with the truck. That's hilarious. That's funny.
I mean, I take it out of the bag, so I'm like,
yeah.
But.
Well, we promised a 1 hour show. We ended up giving you a 2 hour show.
2 hours. You want to say thanks to the sponsors?
Yeah. We'll wrap up now.
Yeah, I have to go pick up Alejandro. So I'm like,
2 years of life that never should have happened, and I'm still here. I'm grateful for it every day.
What a coincidence! December 19?
Every day.
It's my birthday. And then you met me a year after.
You're December 19th? So crazy. So crazy. I want to thank our sponsors, Century 21 McLennan Real Estate, Stadium Chiropractic, 4-Star Lighting, my buddy Joe at 4-Star Lighting. He's been on the show in a while. We should get him. Taramar Mexican Grill, where I think we might be going tonight.
Who's going?
Quality Catering, me and Nancy, I think. Maybe Joe, I don't know. We'll see. Quality Catering in Methuen. I love Alvin and all those guys over there. W3ON Prime Insurance, the Doug Mercurio Law Office, Pleasant Valley Landscaping Contractors. He likes the way I say that.
Yeah.
Dave Idkins over there. AFC Urgent Care, Clear Path for Veterans New England, JG's Ice Cream, Tomo and Shaken Seafood, Martian and Sun Construction, EIS Investigation and Gun Training, and the Zany Pesci Law Office. Sounds like Melvin Taylor says you got to go home. Say your prayers, talk to God, you can get through it. So go home already.